Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to episode of Hash Church 141. That's the CXL capital I or L Roman numeral. I hope everyone's doing well today. We are just going live. And yeah, we got a bunch of people in the chat. We got Kello NOG, who won the vaporizer, the Hercules vaporizer yesterday from the Wake and Bake giveaways. If you haven't been watching the Wake and Bake shows, 6 days a week, Bubble Man, myself, doing a live morning show at 9 o'clock. It's short, 15 to 25 minutes, and it's worthwhile coming and checking out because we're giving away lots of good prizes. Probably some bubble bags in the near future, so let's invite some people into the room. We'll get these emails and these texts all sent off. I even have to get in touch with Mr. Chimera because he comes in a different way than everyone else. We'll see if he wants to come in today. Let's see what he's saying. All right, welcome. Good morning, Etienne. How are you doing this morning? I can't hear you. Oh, there we go. You'd be kidding me. Let's see if I can get you there. No? That's strange. Strange that I don't hear it. Yeah, I have a feeling it's on my end. I have a feeling that it's on my end. Let me just try to unplug my headphones to see if, because you are not coming through at all sound-wise. Now, these do sometimes make a little bit of a mistake. Let me see what I got here. Default speakers. How's that? Are you there, Etienne? No, you are not there, Etienne. Well, let's try again. How about now? Skunkman Sam, are you there? Can you unmute your mic and see if I can hear you? Unmute your mic.
Is my mic muted?
I can hear you. It was muted. Now it's not. That's awesome.
I'm a total idiot. I didn't even notice it was muted.
Oh, that's okay. Etienne was coming through with no sound at all, and it was tripping me out. Still no sound, Etienne. Oh, Etienne's like tripping balls. He's like, what? What? Jesus. He'll figure it out. How you doing today, Sam?
I'm alive.
Okay, well, good. That's great. It's good to hear that you're alive. I would be super bummed if you were dead. I'm just saying.
If I told you I was dead, you would have said, what the fuck?
No, I would have been completely destroyed and bummed, and it would have set off my week to be a bad week, let me tell you. Stay alive, please, Sam, please.
I'm doing my best.
Good, good. Well, we support you in that in any way, shape, or form that we can. I am just sending out a couple of more links, trying to get the link out to Monsieur Chimera if he's feeling the urge today. He's not the easiest one to get in touch with. I don't even know if he's using Skype anymore. I think it's just Signal.
I think he is.
Oh, is he?
Check.
I hear you. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, my minor thing with the blue there.
Dude, it scared me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay, Etienne never has problems. I thought my headphones were screwed up for sure.
It's all good. Now, just hanging out here. We're gonna do Hash Church, and Todd and I we're gonna go head down to the High Times Cannabis Cup.
Nice. Yeah, there's quite a few of our panelists are down there right now. I know Tony's been having quite a day yesterday with his new the terpene sugar that he has produced. This. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a sugar. Lots of people were like, why would you put it in sugar? And I'm pretty sure that he did it, you know, for a sunny, hot day to have some nice lemonade at the cup. So that is why the sugar was the additive. But the terpenes can get put into drinks without those sugars. And hopefully he'll be able to come talk a little bit about that this morning. Because a lot of people were asking about those sugars.
And the sugars, are those smokable?
No, they just go into the drink and they basically dissolve into nothing, and then they give the smell of the drink the smell of the cultivar.
No, so I get it, and I'm glad because I can remember when the Mexicans used to sugar or Coca-Cola kilos years and years and years ago, and it was terrible.
You know what? I'll never forget in my life. Who the fuck came up with that is insane, but I'll never forget my buddy Jay going to his house and he had all this herb hanging and I looked at it and I'm like, bro, why does it look orange? And he's like, oh, that's my secret. And he pulls out this spray bottle with orange crush. And I was just like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, just a light orange crush. I couldn't believe it. I was like in disbelief. Even today, as I tell the story, it sounds like utter and complete bullshit because how could anyone be so fucking stupid?
Well,
Wow.
the reasons I was told that the Mexicans did it was because the herb wasn't quite good enough to stick together on its own.
Well,
so they sugared it to press kilos so they would stick together and give the impression it was really righteous weed.
Well, we got stuff in West Virginia that was packed with Coca-Cola. It was brown from the Coca-Cola that they had pressed it in. You know, they would soak it in the Coca-Cola and press it down in Mexico.
Was it still carbonated?
Well, you had this Coke and you didn't have a smile. I'll just put it that way.
No, I tried smoking sugared weed. I don't know if it was Coke or whatever, sugared something, but horrible.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. For all those out there, don't smoke sugar.
right.
But, you know, that's great that they're starting with that. But of course, you know, initially my patients would go, well, that's great. You've got a sugared version. Will you have a sugarless version? It's like, okay, calm down, people. He's just doing it to sample.
Jesus. Welcome to Todd into the room. And also, simultaneously, I'd like to wish Mr. Forrest. Forrest has been a guest on Hash Church a few times. Of course, he is Silas's father, and he's come and talked to us all about catastrophically ill children and ways of improving the quality of their life and extending the quality and their actual life. It is his birthday today, so I wanted to wish him a happy Hash Church birthday to Forrest, and I hope that it's a wonderful day. I know you're spending it with your family, so good for him. Good.
Much love. Happy birthday.
Oh, and I gotta give a shout out before I forget to this motherfucker, Mr. Spacewalk Glass. Dude, this guy sorted me out, so check this out. I bought this little mothership. I used it for like a month. The little quartz snapped off the dial. Like I didn't do anything. It just came right off. I was like, okay, that's weird. Whatever. I'll buy another one. I bought another one. I took 6 rips with it and it popped off the dial. So now I have this next to useless mothership pipe that I can't basically use because it only is able to be used with the dial, the quartz dial. Well, this dude, Spacewalk Glass, what a fucking cool guy. He has created a very, very simple little addition for the pipe.
Ooh.
It's a glass on glass. You put your banger in there.
Very nice. Nice modification.
And he sent me this beautiful little carb cap where he's got the little hole just slit right in there.
So it's a directional.
It's a directional, like the majority of them these days, but just a different, you know, I got a directional recently from Nish, and he's got the JS style. It's the tiny little nipple that is pointed in a different direction. This one's even a little more unique in the sense that it's just got a little ground glass slit that he's put into the unit. I don't know if it'll actually, oh, there we go.
I would say that's the ladies' model, but I don't want to get in trouble, so I won't.
Okay, let me go into the church real quick and see what the ladies are saying about that. All right, nothing so far, Sam. I think you're safe.
It's a couple of seconds lag there, kids. 10 to 15 seconds.
Well, I might have to try this.
That's a very nice addition, though. I've always wondered about that because I've got a couple of minis myself. And, yeah, I've always thought somebody would be smart making a little modification on the inside like that.
Listen, it's so simple. It's a glass-on-glass joint. He's added a couple of O-rings, and he sends you 3 different size O-rings, which I also thought was pretty cool. You know, you got these 2 sizes, and then the thinner one, which is what I'm using for this particular ship. Welcome, Mr. Mark Chaldone, to the room.
So, hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
Oh, you know, another day, another bowl of hash, or 100 bowls of hash. That's how I'm doing.
for me, another Memorial Day, another Delfest. It was a great weekend in Cumberland, Maryland.
Nice.
Seeing 4 straight days of music, including John Fishman, who joined Del McCoury's band on Thursday night, and Trey Anastasio for 2 sets on Friday. So it was a fish-oriented Delfest this year. It was really good.
That's awesome, dude. I love the fact that you're out there just experiencing the music and loving the music to the ultimate degree. I sort of live vicariously through you, brother, because I love the music. I love it as much as you. I just don't have it in my life right now. I'm in a place where we get no shows. I can't go to America.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a fake story the other day that scared the shit out of me. Fake news can get you every once in a while, let me tell you. And this one terrified me. And it was the Prime Minister of Jamaica saying that he and the US have been in conversations for America to absorb Jamaica like they did with Guam and Puerto Rico. And I was just like, oh my God, now I won't be able to go to Jamaica. Like this is just fucking crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it gave me a little bit of nervousness as Todd chuckles to himself.
Hey, you have Justin Bieber up there and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know, Justin Bieber, he's you called it, Todd. That's what we have up here.
Yeah. Hey.
You know, for a short period we had Neil Young, but even he moved to fucking California 40 years ago. So
he has a great ranch on Navarro Ranch Road.
Oh,
really
let me tell you. Is that the original ranch that he bought in 71? That can't be.
It might be. Yeah, it's at the very end of, I shouldn't be giving this up probably, but it's in Mendocino at the end of Navarro Ranch Road. So Google Earth it, everybody. You'll see tour buses in a beautiful place. Yes.
Right. That's awesome, dude. Maybe I should.
Sorry, Neil. Sorry.
Good morning, Todd.
I'm still asleep. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, morning to you then, as opposed to good morning. Just morning to your ass.
Way more realistic. Way more realistic. What am I doing awake? Because all my brain keeps thinking.
I hear you. This 9 o'clock hash church thing. Holy Christ! But
yeah, who came up with that? Who came up with 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings? Huh? Let's find him.
Yeah.
It's not a problem for me, but it's 6 o'clock at night here. We're civilized.
It's noon here.
I should start doing it at 6 o'clock at night here and see how Sam feels about it.
Uncivilized.
Although he does wake up at around 5 in the morning, so he'd probably show up a couple hours into it, looking like Todd.
So Todd, you must be a happy camper. Mr. Clark is coming to see you pretty soon here, huh?
I am actually. I'm quite a happy camper. I've been working on my book so I can cause all his time with me to be productive.
That's awesome.
It's a write-off.
That's a write-off. That's funny.
That's adverse to anti-ductive.
What?
No, he'll show up and just want to
Instead of
talk.
productive, it's anti-ductive.
Knowing Rob, he'll show up and just want to talk about fishing.
Right.
Right? Todd will be like, listen, I just need you to edit this entire book real quickly.
No, he did a great piece called Fragrant Medicine that I've been just loving. And it's amazing. It's just really amazing. Everything that he writes, I think, is amazing. I got to be one of his geekiest fans, I swear. But
I have to be modestly honest that all the best parts of that chapter were actually written by me, Todd.
Nice. That's honest. In 1972, you have to add.
no, I'm gonna put that under it. By Rob Clark, although all the best parts written by, I can do this. Don't tell him until it's printed is all I ask.
Yeah,
you.
don't tell him until after he sees it.
Right. It'll be great. I'm really excited about Lester Grinspoon's piece too.
What's Lester's piece about?
It's about our endocannabinoid system. He wrote a piece called
Cannabiopathic medicine.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm still half asleep.
You know what? That
I
was
really
a
am.
guess, but I knew that he was promoting that.
It's
so
caniopathic, but yes.
Caniopathic. Thank you. I'm always mixing things up. I am the bubble man after all, and I chain smoke resin like it's crack sometimes. In fact,
Hey, don't blame drugs. If you're to be considered an adult, you are responsible for what you put into your body at any time. So do not blame drugs. We used to have that bumper sticker back in the day and we used to sell that on tour. A lot of the deadheads used to love that one.
oh yeah, well that's a great one.
You can't blame the cannabis breeders just because they've developed a variety called irresistible.
But Sam, didn't you create skunk, and didn't some guy cut his dink off recently because he was on the psycho skunk? I heard this story.
Yes, but I heard he was taking synthetic cannabis, and it wasn't really skunk. But
it was that fake synthetic skunk.
that's what I think it was. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, if psychos like great cannabis, what can I say?
That has to come out of the UK. Did that story come out of the UK?
There's no way that an American cut off his thing on high on skunk one. Because not to sound weird, but almost nobody even says skunk one in America anymore.
Right, just skunk.
Not only that, but he also used a butter knife.
Jesus.
You are joking, right?
Yes, I'm joking.
Okay, I was going to say that's determination right there. You'd have to go with friction or something at that point.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Sorry you jumped in right there. Good
Jumped right into penis cutting off there.
Yeah, we're getting our UK news updates from Paranoid Central.
This is Darren coming in at 9 o'clock sharp.
I was about to say, that's Mr. 9 o'clock sharp right there. I'll be there, I was racing in. I'm like, he's probably already in, talking shit, getting a bong rip in already. I'm late.
And here I am. What time is it? 9:17.
Good
That's
to see you,
pretty
brother.
sharp.
That's pretty sharp. It's about as sharp as a butter knife.
As a piece of paper. Sharp as a stick. Sharp like stick.
Wow. That was a good little rip through the mini. You see this thing, Darren? You might have an appreciation for this.
I love your mini. Oh.
It's when your dial breaks that you get this little extra piece and it fits right into your mini so you can use your banger.
Yeah, I got to get one of those for sure.
Can't you
Yes,
just
I
get another
definitely need
dial?
one of those.
What's that, guys?
Can't you just get another dial?
I ordered another dial. They're $200 a piece, and I broke it after 6 rips. It just fell right out of the dial. I didn't even touch it. So I'm kind of over the multi-$100 dials that A, are tiny, and B, just don't seem to last. So I'm giving my support to Spacewalk Glass.
My dial never broke.
Are they at Spacewalk on IG?
Yeah, Spacewalk Glass, I believe.
Have you ever broken a dial, ATM?
No, but the same thing tends to happen if you overuse the dials. The resin that's used as the binder in the dial can slip. And I've read from early on about people having to re-glue them or readjust them. And it's part of the reality of the design. It's not fixed in the dial itself. It uses the rosin and or whatever they're using as a binding agent. And as you know, when you heat up quartz, it goes through the entire quartz. And if you heat it up a lot and do a serious sesh, you can see how quickly the inside of that can start to wear or just the heat causes the glue to go back to the state of its less than malleable state, and it can just pop right off.
Well, I was definitely not as careful with my first one, but then being told, oh, you definitely did this, I was like, okay, I got the second one. I always would heat it as it lifted out, like not down towards the dial, but up away from the dial. I would make sure the quartz never got hot. I got 6 rips, and that thing went pop, like just popped right out. So
all glass pipes are kind of like you're born and you die.
Yeah.
Glass pipes are born and they're all sooner or later probably gonna die.
And some days they're reborn. Some
some days you keep them in your Pelican case so they will last, Sam.
Like these ones.
Yeah, if you're a collector, but I'm a user. I'm not a collector.
Sam's a breaker. He's a breaker, not a collector.
I'm a professional breaker.
Yeah,
breaker one.
Listen, the first time I think I went to that guy's house, had some nice glass, and I went to pass it to him. He's like, "Oh, don't pass that to me. I break glass." And I was just like, "Damn, he's just right out with it. He's just the first thing he's telling me as I pass him my pipe. Oh, I break glass." And then he goes over to his little cupboard and pulls out his broken pipes. Look at this. I broke this one, and I broke this one. Oh, I broke this one real good. Oh, Sam. There's nobody like you.
Sam, are you saying gravity is not your friend?
No, gravity gets along fine with me, but I just use glass a lot, and sooner or later, I break it.
Right. It happens.
Hey, can you talk a little bit, Sam, about how Fanola found its way into CBD crosses?
Well, either they're using it because Fanola is fairly auto, because its CBD levels were not extremely high. They're like most other hemp varieties, 1 or 2% at the very most. So I'm not sure why they would use Fanola for CBD production, unless maybe because it's legal to grow many places where it's legal to grow hemp, it's legal to grow Fanola. So that could be a reason too.
Or the fact that the majority of hemp has had THC bred down as low as it can, which is the inevitable, whether you're actually breeding to try and raise the CBD or not. By lowering the THC, you kind of do raise the CBD. I mean, most
seed availability too, right? I mean, bulk seed availability, there's only so much hemp seed available, isn't that right?
Sure.
Well, you wouldn't need bulk, Mark. I mean, once you determined your parents, you would be then using your female or your male with higher cannabinoid levels, and you'd be making.
I'm also
surprised. Need a lot of seeds at first.
I'm surprised that the people who do use Fanola for CBD, and I've met several folks who are doing it, they don't create feminized Fanola. So every plant is female, and they're able to grow it sinsemilla instead of seeded, because all of the Fanola I see grown for CBD is from seeded cannabis, which is, it just reduces the CBD content.
Hey, was there a guy online recently, Sam, arguing with you about Durban poison? Like, I think his name was Matthew.
Yes, there was. I forget who it was, but yes.
Does he not know what work you did with that variety? And
it doesn't make a difference. He knows absolutely 100% Durban poison is a hybrid, and Durban is not. Right. According to the cannabis god who apparently whispered it in his ear.
Yeah, I never, he definitely sounded like he knew what his shit was, but he wasn't willing to back it up with anything that was actually reality based, I guess you would say.
Yeah, well, I've been pretty clear about, I got Durban poison. I got it from Jim Goodwin. He gave it to me. He got it from Ed Rosenthal, who came over to a shop here in Amsterdam called the Transky, picked up some cannabis. It was Durban poison. It was just pure South African variety, landrace. And when Jim gave me the seeds, they were extremely hermaphroditic. I mean, every plant was hermaphroditic. And I had to grow it for several years to clean it up, to make it so that my selection was no longer hermaphroditic, but it was at that time the earliest drug variety I had ever seen. I mean, it was a month or two earlier than all the other varieties out there, and it was dope. So it was very interesting, and people used it to make all kinds of interesting hybrids also.
So if you don't mind me going in a little deeper, what would be involved in the 2 years of cleaning it up, i.e. your selection?
It was more than 2 years. What it was growing like 100 plants or so and selecting the single least hermaphroditic ones for the parents. And that's what was done. And if I remember right, it was 4 years before I had ones that really didn't express hermaphroditism at all.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, basically, like begats like. So if you use intersex parents, then your progeny is going to be intersex. So you've got to use the least intersex individuals you can find, and the more you grow, the more flexibility you have to find individuals that really have no intersex expression at all.
So that must be just incredible to be like, it just goes to show you the internet too, which is a tough one because you want to learn from the internet. But when you have, like, I can only imagine very few people are even having this experience, but when you yourself are being told by someone who's probably in their 20s and they know for a fact all about this particular Durban poison that you spent 4 years just cleaning it up, it must be a weird energy to have people like that telling you.
Well, not only that, but if it was a hybrid, then it would have been, by the F2 or F3 or F4, it would have expressed both parents, but it did not. South African was very, very consistent, except for that it had varying amounts of potency and varying amounts of intersexness at first. So I straightened that up and made it potent as hell and with no intersex. But since then, I think there's probably been several other imports of South African or Durban poison or Durban or whatever. And so maybe he's talking about that. But the original South African that was distributed throughout North America and Europe came via me.
And that plant expressed THCV, correct?
Small amounts, yes.
And what about any exotic or not so seen today terpene expressions?
Well, you know, to be honest, I never GC'd the terpene expression of South African, or if I did, I've got my files and I'm not sure where it is.
Right.
And but what I can remember very strongly was it had a very aniseed licoricey smell and taste.
Yeah, interesting. That's very cool. I know that here in Canada, LPs are avidly seeking out unique cannabinoid expressions from CBG and CBC and CBT and of course THCV.
Yeah, well,
and CBD.
THCV is there in small amounts, but I think if you want to target THCV, you want one that's like 1-to-1 with THC, or you want one that's 95% THCV and hardly anything else.
Right.
These are a far cry from that. They would take 4 or 5 years of work to get to that point with it.
Nice.
How would we? Good morning, everybody. I'm just curious, Sam. You're saying increasing the THCV, so in particular plant, how would you increase more of the THCV?
Well, it's really simple. It's real simple, complicated as fuck, but simple. What you do is, okay, for example, you have a variety that has THCV in it, like South African, like Thai, like Afghan, like California Orange did. All of these had individuals, if you grew enough of them, with 1 or 2% THCV. So you take those and you just take an individual plant from that family, and you self it, the one with the highest THCV level. So then you've created an S1, which is, and you grow those seeds, and you find individuals which are maybe double the THCV. You find the one that is the highest in THCV. And then you self that again, and you keep doing it for 3 or 4 generations until you've got one that is pretty much mostly THCV or very, very high in it anyway. But then, so you did that to your South African. You also separately did that for 3, 4, 5 years to your Afghan, to your Thai, to your California Orange. Then what you do is you, at the very end, you combine them. And that, because what you've done is after you've selfed it for 3 or 4 generations, you've got a plant that it won't drop pollen. It has no vigor, no resistance. It's this weak little it's like, you're not supposed to screw your sister, and this is the reason why. Because you end up with yee yee wah wah type people. And the same thing happens with plants. If you inbreed them for 3-4 generations, you can modify by selection the one that's the highest in THCV, but without recombining the four populations, they shouldn't be related. So then you combine them again at the end, and bango bango, nature restores all the vigor, and they're fresh and juicy, and everything is great again.
And how would you go about combining those?
Well, you just take the inbred populations, the ones that are the highest, and you combine the South African with the Thai, and the the Afghan with the California orange, for example, and then you make F1s between those, and then you pick out the highest individuals and you combine those, and then you end up with all four populations in a single 4-way hybrid that has easily over 95% THCV in hopefully large amounts if you've done good selection for the ability to produce lots of resin.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I've found that over the years that the strains that have always been helpful for me, that I've always turned to, were higher in THCV. So it's just kind of curious how it works for me. I'm curious.
THCV does not get you high. If it's pure THCV, it's not psychoactive. In fact, it's the opposite of getting you high. It's more like THC or CBD. It does not bind to the CB1 receptor at all.
Cool.
Damn, that was a nice little like early morning, first half hour of Hash Church knowledge drop. As you were even saying it, I just thought, oh my God, like there are crazy amounts of companies in this, just in Canada alone right now that don't know this information.
I would like to bring up the fact that, unfortunately, when I was a Marinol patient, the government actually used THCV to come after me. And that is the chemical that Asoli looks for when he's trying to decide whether or not a Marinol patient is using Marinol, just Marinol, or if she's actually using cannabis on the side. And it's really a shitty thing, but that's the THCV, is it? I would love to see a list of varieties that do not have THCV in it, because that's what we brought in to basically go.
Yeah, you have to look really close, Todd, because the variety, like even skunk number 1 has very, very, very small amounts of THCV. So you really have to look close, because that's what they're going to do.
John Morgan brought a list of.
We found varieties that had 0 THCV, but you really do have to look close.
Right. John Morgan brought a list of varieties that didn't contain THCV to show how flawed the test was. And he got his list back from the Mississippi project. It was under Turner that I think his list was dated. So it was a really old list at the time.
But it's more than just THCV. You might also want to make sure that there's no CBDV or CBCV or CBGV or any of those, because then it's coming from a plant source and not from a synthesis product from Marinol.
For people who want to learn a little bit more about this, just like pretty good little knowledge drop, Dr. Ethan Russo speaking at the Cannabis Hemp Conference in Vancouver. I uploaded it about 3 weeks ago. And right around the 20-minute mark, he gets into THCV, tetrahydrocannabivarin, and talks about CBDV as well. But he just breaks it down, real simple little things about what both kind of have to offer in regards to anticonvulsant properties and decreased edema and hyperglycia, and produces weight loss, THCV. Those are all THCV. And he sort of talks about it a little bit. It's worth watching. It's only a 39-minute video, and it's it'll give you a little bit of knowledge for certain.
No, that's great. I've been talking to more of my friends about trying to get hemp seed oil into their diet, because even if you don't smoke pot, you can still eat essential fatty acids and activate your endocannabinoid system. And I think everybody should be trying to consume essential fatty acids as much as they can.
Yeah, I would agree. Just like exercise, it's as important as exercise. Both of those things will stimulate the endocannabinoid system. And then if you're, enjoying cannabis along the way as well, seems like a pretty awesome trio right there. So what's going on in Kelowna, D?
Just about to do a bong rip, mother lover.
Really?
You ready? Let's do this.
I'm not, but wait a minute. Yes, I am. I have a D now. I'll just throw it in real quick and just try to keep up.
I'm visiting my girlfriend in Kelowna.
Oh, do tell. Awesome, dude.
You look so rugged and outdoorsy there.
Well, I rode my bike down, so I had to tie this up so it isn't all in my face and shit. And I got my hair off, not combed, so I got my hat on. It's a nice yard here. Yes.
Do you know how you can tell a happy biker?
How?
By counting the bugs in his teeth.
Or on my windshield. I hide behind that thing sometimes. There's some bugs in BC, man.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Swarms.
Listen, when I see those guys on bikes cruising on the highway without windshields, I'm like, damn.
Oh, I did that for a lot of years, and
that's just rugged. That's rugged.
I got chipped teeth from catching rocks in my teeth on my bike, and it's not good. Makes you really mad right away. It's like getting a punch in the face from nobody.
It's like a cracked windshield, but worse. Well, not quite as bad as dislocating your arms and your legs on a motorcycle, but
I can remember riding a motorcycle in India and Goa, and also in Indonesia. And at sunset is when the insects seem to just pour out, and you'd get hit by 10 times as many if you were on the road at sunset.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, you go ahead.
When I rode to Whitehorse last year, it was just, there was a film of bugs on the front of my bike that was just like I've never seen. And we had a huge rainstorm, and then it all washed off with the bug juice. Like I had to really polish that shit off. But yeah,
that's how it is in Louisiana. We get so many bugs, and then in the summer you get these. It's called love bug season, and you can drive into a swarm of 1 million of these things, and it could fuck you up if you're on a motorcycle. It fucks you up when you're in a car because those things are absolutely just stuck to the front of your car, and they're not easy to clean off.
So Sam. Was the motorcycle a Enfield or a Royal?
No,
Enfield?
It was a freaking Enfield, absolutely.
Right on. It's like the only motorcycle you can find in India, or a Royal.
Now they've got them all there, but
sure.
Originally it was Enfield, correct? Because they were made in India.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to this day, even I can tell you that when I have friends that are like, oh yeah, we drove motorcycles from India into Nepal, and I'm like, were they Enfields or Royal Enfields? And they're like, ha ha ha, yeah, we were on the Royal Enfields.
And the other thing, all the cars back then were ambassadors.
That's a bucket list thing right there, in my opinion, to either ride a Enfield or Royal Enfield through India, preferably in the north, in the mountains, but I'm sure it's as amazing anywhere in the whole country. I did not by any means go all over India the way, Indra has talked about, and the way Sam has talked about. I was limited.
With me, I was really only on a motorcycle in Goa or in Bali. No place else, because I just didn't want to deal with it. It was better to have a driver.
I'll tell you, getting hurt like that in India, like a motorcycle accident, would be a nightmare, Inception style, like a nightmare within a nightmare. It's like you're all fucked up from getting hit by a car or something, and now you're going to the hospital, which is like maybe not the best experience.
The first time I went to the dentist, and the dentist says, okay, I can have that fixed. I had a small cavity in one tooth, and he pulls up and he goes, Raj, and a little kid comes running in, and he starts pedaling the power for the drill.
Jesus.
And I'm going, Ay caramba, but I did it.
I did it. Oh my God, Sam. Yeah, tooth pain, man. It's the real deal.
Don't mess around with that stuff.
Tooth pain will have you seeking out a dentist in India. No joke.
The tooth, the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth. So help your jaw.
Well, tooth pain and ear pain, if it goes extreme, those are the two. It's like inside your head, man. It's unbearable.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not something you want. Good to take care of your teeth. Make sure they're not rotting inside of your head. Because, woo, tell ya, they'll get you. I'm sure they can make you go insane too, and kill you for that matter. Has not an abscessed tooth poisoned and killed?
I absolutely has killed people. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's no joke. We like to take that shit serious when the LD50 is like 1. When it's serious, teeth are outside bones. Thank you, Malik. That's if so, good morning. Indra is at the Cannabis Cup right now, along with Tony. And yeah, hopefully one of them comes in. Indra said he might come in on his phone a little bit later on to show us what's going on.
I forget the name of the movie, but I know you've all seen it. And it's Dustin Hoffman getting drilled in the mouth, and the Nazi guy who's hiding the diamond saying, "Am I safe? Am I safe?"
Dustin Hoffman getting drilled in the mouth, hey?
Yep.
What year do you think that was? Like the 70s or the 80s?
The movie's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't think of it. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the classic movies.
Well, let's go through his entire filmography.
He's also a long distance runner in that movie, yes. But
Marathon Man.
Is that what it's called?
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Somebody can look up Dustin Hoffman and see.
I think it's Marathon Man.
But that movie, when I saw it, it was just like, because what they're doing is they're torturing him to find out, is it safe for the Nazi to go pick up his diamonds in New York at the bank, because he has a safety deposit box there with billions of diamonds stolen from the Jews during the Second World War. And am I safe? Am I safe? I can still remember that.
Little torture that'll always stick with you.
Yeah, it was Jeremy Irons, wasn't that the actor?
He's a good bad guy.
Yeah, I think it was Jeremy Irons. I'm not sure, but
Played
yeah,
the Nazi commandant.
no, I think he was the dentist, wasn't he?
Well, that was an ex-Nazi.
Oh,
You know what?
man.
What a kind of trip to be an actor and play like some badass, horrible, like Nazi character, and then just be like out in life and have like good people looking at you like they're afraid of you, and sociopathic people like being like, yeah, dude. Like that just must be a very weird energy, you know? You played a part in a movie and then people are recognizing you for it. Strange.
Yeah, I was mistaken. That was Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier.
Yeah, I went to Wiki to check. It wasn't Jeremy.
Was
Irons.
Marathon Man?
Yeah, Laurence Olivier was the evil Nazi.
Well, I still remember this. At the time when I watched it, I just thought, Jesus Christ, they're drilling in the guy's teeth to torture him. My God.
Well, he got a Oscar for that role.
For drilling Dustin Hoffman's teeth.
For supporting actor role in that movie.
For best supporting torturist.
That's exactly what I was saying.
I could hear it before you said it. I even heard it in your voice, just so you know. Oh my God.
Actually,
And now it's
nominated. He didn't get the award, but it was
That's some other
Thriller
did torturing them.
1976.
Incredible. Incredible. So what's
I strongly recommend the movie to anybody who's interested. Dustin Hoffman did a great job in it.
We'll go figure. He was kind of a decent actor.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Well, what's going on in the week of cannabis? What have we heard in this last week in the world of cannabis? Has it been a quiet week?
No, High Times officially sold to a conglomerate group of.
That was big.
Shout out to my
What's it?
friend Ian C, who was one of those people. But I guess Damian
$70
Marley.
million?
That was
For 60%.
No, but was it $70 million or was it a $70 million valuation?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's different.
Valuation. I don't think that amount of money.
No, $70 million. My God, that's amazing.
So yeah, that was that's quite a big group of people, isn't it? The name I obviously hear the most is Damian Marley, as he's in that group. But you said your friend's in that group as well, Etienne?
Yeah, I'm on the board of the National Cannabis Industries Association, and one of my friends actually who started Denver Relief, the first dispensary in Denver. He's part of that group. So shout out to him. Much love. Wish them success with that, needless to say.
So maybe
it's funny too, because Steve Hager is saying we should all boycott High Times.
why? They might have a soul now.
Well, the trouble is he's really angry because they feel he's been cheated. But
Oh, right.
at the
Steve Hager.
same time, it's the people he's telling you to boycott are not the owners of High Times that he's telling you to boycott. It's the new people and so I think he's a day late and a dollar short.
Yes. Well, I mean, hey, I would love to see High Times. I still think High Times has always had a good thing. Whatever Tom Forcade created, there was something about it that was lasting. So I love the idea of soulless lawyers losing control of High Times, and people like Damian Marley, who for sure has a soul and knows how to hold the vibe. Like people like that being involved, that's good to me. I look forward to what they do.
I mean, to me, High Times was always more like the Playboy of marijuana. I have nothing against Playboy exploiting tits if that's what people want. But, I mean, High Times, it will now be, tits and buds or boobs and buds.
Right. Well,
In between all the advertising.
I think
the advertising pays the bills.
Right.
well, but low
No, though,
integrity.
guys, can I say this? Who knows? Because with a music-based professional background of production, it could change the thing completely. Because now they're going to get bigger acts. We had 311 play last night, and I'm not sure who's playing tonight.
The Wailers and Sublime.
And Sublime, the new Sublime. Yeah. So they're going to be able to communicate with higher end. They may be able to take this thing to a next level. I mean, most musicians put on bigger concerts on a weekly basis than cannabis companies put on cannabis events on an annual basis. So I mean, I would say give the professionals some time to play with it. I mean, my beef was never, I really liked Hager. I really liked a lot of the people that worked there, Stang and Nico made it through. And I think they're the ones that did the best out of all this. So shout out to those two guys for actually making it all work, But, my beef, if anything, is how, Kennedy treated guys like Hager. And I never wanted to be really part of that crew, even though I did at times kind of work with them and do stuff like interview Kevin Nealon and do photographs and shit. But, I hope that there is a change in High Times and that they treat their employees in a way that they want to stick around and that they, are appreciated. And I hope that they can professionalize the magazine, because it's in a way been our only voice for cannabis information for a long time. I mean, if it wasn't for High Times in the 80s, I didn't find Sensimilia Tips, really till the end of the 80s. But High Times was the source of information for a lot of us, and I'm glad it was there.
Yeah,
I really like High Times and Simsimia tips, and there's a lot of trash you can talk about High Times, and some of it may even be true. But still, it was the light out there in the beginning until it came along.
It was also solid journalism early on. If you read those early High Times in the 70s, going almost into 80 and stuff, they had some amazing journalists and journalism going on.
Paul Krasner.
Oh, love Paul.
I love
Scott's been in
Paul.
Paul's. I've met Paul multiple times. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Most humble guy there is.
Great journalist.
Love to, Hager deserves props because when he got his job in '88, he turned it around. He's the one that took it into the environmental look. He's the one that read The Emperor Wears No Clothes. He's the one that got Jack Herer into the High Times.
He
the
made
one that started
cannabis
going there.
much more the center of High Times.
Yes, he took it away from drugs and into pot.
He gave me and Rob free booths. He gave us free interest into all of the early High Times Harvest Festivals. Cannabis cups. But at the same time, he turned a bit wacko in the end. I mean, he accused me of being a spook, a CIA. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's out there for sure. Well,
everybody get essential fatty acids into your diet because, early onset dementia is a reality.
I would also say that most of the employees of High Times that I met and interacted with over the years, from the Bobby Blacks and the Matt Stangs, I really enjoyed and liked those guys. I'm not talking about them in the sense of a soulless entity, but from a business perspective, because I was involved with High Times much the way a lot of these guys on the panel, first as a viewer, someone reading it and just being inspired that it was one of the only cannabis things I could find, and it was even illegal to sell in my country, and you kind of had to buy it almost the way you bought herb. It was a very unique entrance into the cannabis world.
Low.
Right, on the super down low, especially in the Bible Belt where I was from.
Absolutely. In West Virginia, that was my only access to cannabis information. And in fact, I wouldn't be here and involved in cannabis if it hadn't been for that one High Times that I picked up that was brand new and looked at it and saw that all the articles were 3 to 4 months behind. And it made me realize that shit was going down right now and that I could actually be involved in it. Right. So I will forever be grateful for High Times for laying that foundation of my curiosity and then sparking it to take it further to where it's now my entire life. And I wouldn't know any of you without it.
I would also shout out Andre Grossman as an exceptional photographer who was involved in High Times for many years, and getting to watch him shoot in Lugano at Breeder Steve's facility, the old Moonshine cover that he did. It's just some really great shots. The way he shot with the Hasselblad camera and with the little loop on the back of the screen, like it was just so old school and unique, and I loved being exposed to it. And I just thought that he was a great guy. Very, very, very German, but yet very just,
very straightforward.
Very straightforward.
I got to go to his studio in New York City. And
nice.
Got to hang out with him a few times. Yeah, interesting character, but amazing photographer.
Really, for real. I loved his precision and his execution and the level of OCD, which I'm sure comes with just being born German, that he has to do when he takes his photographs. It definitely inspired me in my photography.
Well, he didn't take pictures. He took portraits of the cannabis.
Real.
He staged the lighting, the background, everything. He didn't just put a pot here and just went blah, blah, blah. He actually took it like a centerfold and actually rethought it. And really, that cover, the shot of the New York Times that he did, phenomenal. One of the most spectacular cannabis shots still to this day.
Oh, it's been years since I've spoken to him. It would, if you're listening, Andre, or a friend of Andre's is listening, get him to get in touch with us. It would be great to have him come on and tell some old High Time stories of some of the well-known shots that graced the magazine over the years.
Oh, I bet you he's got stories sneaking in and out of places just to get the actual shots. I bet you he's got a cavalcade of short stories.
In the beginning, the real problem with getting great photography of cannabis was the cannabis. I mean, it was easy to get shit photography, either a lousy photograph or a lousy herb, but truly great required incredible photography and incredible cannabis, all in the same shot.
A collaboration. And if it's hash, then it also involves incredible processing. So now you have a trio of 3 things that all have to be incredible to line up for someone to go snap and people to be like, oh, wow, look at that.
And then Todd took it to a whole other level by layering it and taking just these complete in-depth shots that, I mean, you can blow up and look deeper and deeper every single shot.
Depth of field. Yeah, that was a long time ago. You know, what was funny is I was in a conversation with Malcolm McKinnon asking him for camera tricks on how to get deeper depth of field. And that's when I was talking to him about, you know, can't I take a bunch of little photos? And that's when he said, no. And it was really funny. And he left me some of the samples from the judge's kit. So I took this shot of a layered shot that I used my hand to move the lens and everything and sent it to him. And he just couldn't understand how I did it because he knew it was a trick, but he was like, how did you do this? Because, you know, we all know that when you open up your f-stop, you lose, you gain depth of field, but you get softness and you lose that sharpness. So it's photography is always a trade-off. It
always is.
It always is. You know, you get a little of this, but you get a little less of that.
Right. It's where you focus. That's what you get.
Well, yeah, but it's light, you know, because you know, as you move around your aperture, you lose the ability to put light in there because, you know, that's when you go to a bigger f-stop, it's actually a smaller hole, and then you need to light appropriately, and it becomes a real challenge. But you still get a softer image because of the way it works. But layering is great, and there's a guy on Instagram that's doing it really well.
That's Dynasty.
Dynasty does too.
Or Shale.
Another person.
Dynasty and Shale are both killing it. Dynasty is some of the best ones I've seen. Oh, maybe Beer Goggles.
Dobie Duck does some nice ones too.
I love that there's this many people doing it right now. I think that's so great, you know. It was so hard for me to explain it to people in 08 and 09 when I was doing it because they're like, what did you use? You take the photos and then you use some program. This was before Photoshop even had it as part of it.
Which one were you using, like combines or stacks?
I use one called Helium Focus now for years.
That's right. I used Helium Focus.
And before that, there was another one called Combines.
Yeah, I used Combines back then as well.
Didn't like it.
I didn't get into it myself. I just preferred to just shoot single shots, but I do appreciate.
Well, they are single shots. I mean, it's just that I have 80 of them or 100. Now I'm doing deeper stacks of over 200
A single shot is one shot, and 200 shots is 200 single shots, all combined together. So that's the difference.
No, I know, but the thing is, I have a folder with 200 single shots. I still have to set up the whole thing. You know,
I've done it.
Manual. It's
I've done it.
I've
done it 2 ways. In fact, I did it the way that my friend said, "Oh, set it up on a rail system, and it's a no-brainer. You just kind of like it moves the thing in increments, and you take the shot." But what I did was I moved the subject. I had my camera on a tripod, and the hash was underneath it, and I started the hash kind of almost out of frame, and I just moved it 20 times across the thing, and it was the first helium focus shot I ever did, and I wish I could remember who it was that told me about that program, because it was one of the macro photographers that's currently on IG slaying it right now. I can't remember, but I remember sending it back. Oh no, it was a guy who wrote for 91 Sticky Guide 91, and he wrote I wish I could remember his name. It's amazing how many people come and go in this industry. I wish they kept their names, because they kind of peter out and then they come back as a new name, and it's just I can't remember, you know, all the different changes.
I honestly will have to admit that until I saw cannabis that had been photographed that way, I always assumed that you always had to sacrifice one or the other. But by doing, you know, dozens of photographs, you don't have to sacrifice.
No.
No, the way that I do it now, it's almost like looking at it scientifically, because I can select the sharpest photo from my camera with the best lighting, and then I pick my far and my close points and my far points, and then the camera figures out a numeric number of how many shots I need at the depth of field I have chosen in order to cover that span. So it's really a bunch of math and stuff. When I first started doing it, I was using the MPE 65, and I was actually just moving the thing, Mark, a smidgen, you know, like trying to move it a millimeter and not touch anything, and then just touch the mouse without making anything move, and doing that 1,000 times. But it worked out good, and now I have a focus stacker, or
A rail stack.
yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, and I can actually move the camera, or I can move the subject, but usually I choose to use the camera. I move the subject and I leave the camera stationary.
Yeah. Well, that's why my friend was so blown away, because he was using one of those combined programs. And he was using the rail system, which took him very long to move it and take the pictures. So when I just said, all I did was like, I just moved the picture. If you understand that you have a depth of field, it's not a sliver, it's a little slice. So you don't have to be super accurate. The program will splice it perfectly together as long as you maintain all the information.
Yeah, if you're at 2.8 or you're at the edge of your lens,
well, I don't go quite.
It's a smidgen.
2.8. I'm probably around 4 or 5.
Yeah, see, and I never do that. I go right to the sharpest point of my lens and then go from there. Even though it's going to mean a dozen more photos, it still means I get a clearer photo. Because if I go even 3.6 or 4.5, I can see the softness. Because I'm sitting here with the 4K monitor and I'm like, ooh, no, back to 2.8, and then I just compensate for my lighting.
How about this photo that Reefer Man sent me of this auto-flowering tie?
Pretty spindly.
Dude, calyxes. For whatever reason, I love the idea of tasting that cultivar right there. I have never heard of an auto-flowering, narrow leaf drug cultivar that was that could still express the terpenes that I'm looking for, along with the cannabinoids. Have you ever
smoked Dr. Grinspoon from Barney's?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It kind of looks like that, just the stem with
looks very much like that. Also, I found that a little bit bigger version was the Hawaiian Snow, which was also very
hazy enough for me. But I know what you mean. Yeah, the Hawaiian Snow was not hazy.
Just in the structure, it was very sparse.
Sparse, yes. Loose, spindly buds.
I wonder what that smells like.
Which?
That picture he just showed.
I'll let you know.
Spicy. Not sweet.
I'll tell you, man. I just love me some narrow leaf drug cultivars. Some haze.
Haze is right.
In fact, I'm going to hit some haze-like rosin right now. I have some...
I can't believe I can't find his Instagram.
Some Congo and some Sweet Skunk.
He is rotating buds. He's doing stacked rotations and then
movies. He was on my show. That guy's doing great work. I wish you would have
San Diego.
I wish you would have made the MPE show, dude, because that's Eric.
And then why can't I find him?
I believe that's Eric that's doing that.
What's his Instagram?
I'm looking. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Oh, I don't even know where my phone is right now. There it is.
Really worth checking out, though. Fantastic photographer.
I think it was Nugs something that he started. Eric.
Oh no, yeah, his book Green is great.
Eric.Nugshots.
Nugshots. Eric.Nugshots.
Got it.
Shout out to you, bro.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I like his technique too. He's moving in. It's unique. It's really classy.
Oh yeah, nothing like it, man.
Adding the flow to it, the movement is really fantastic.
Yeah, Eric, that was next level. Going right into it, I was like, yeah, dude, great job.
It looks like video, but it's actually not. It's a bunch of still photos that he's actually putting together, and he's using.
He be stacking. That's right, Green Show.
Yeah,
That's
it's
straight up.
fantastic.
Dynasty, though, to this day is some of my favorites. Like the level of quality of clarity and the quality of resin that he has access to, which is a huge aspect Sam mentioned earlier. It's
Absolutely
it's
true.
it's about having this photogenic, this, because I've photographed a lot of cannabis cultivars with my macro lens, and some are very sort of subpar. They're just trichomes. And then there are other ones that people like Ramo grow that are exceptional. They're purple and they're green and they've got golds and silvers and they have all these incredible fall colors. And the resin glands all have different maturity rates and they're different colors.
I remember the picture you took where you could see you reflected in the resin head.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was
just mind blowing.
yeah.
I thought it was too cool.
Years later,
Dynasty's lighting is so on point. It's really well done.
It's
Beautifully
unbelievable.
done.
It's just the MPE, the dual flash, right? It's like he's definitely
he's definitely not using a dual flash because you get the reflection. I have
Right.
the 24 and I have the ring, and they both fucking. And I got an LED.
Do you use a diffuser on it?
Now I'm using a whole box that diffuses.
Yeah, you got to diffuse it
from every angle, and I'm actually using no flash. So all the ones that you're seeing on my Instagram right now with Grow Medicine is no flash. It's all ambient lit.
Sun.
No, I'm using T5 grow lights. I had one of the short fixtures that was like the 1 foot or 1.5 foot fixture. And it has like 6 bulbs in it, so it's a perfect little size. I put that on top, and it creates a real uniformity of light because there's like 6 bulbs.
That's a studio situation. That's not something
I'm not moving it. It's honest.
You're not gonna roll into Ramo's grow room and shoot his living plants on the plant with that system.
What I do I only shoot the plants you see in mine art, but I cut them. So what I do is I cut the branch, the tip, and I go over and I place it in front of the thing so that it just got cut. You can't let it wilt. And the other recommendation I have is put your camera on a very solid surface, because even anything that could make it move, vibrate, anything, vibration fucks your trichrome shots off.
I hand shoot in Remo's room and all his plants are moving when I'm doing it. No joke. I'm not even making that up, dude. Like, it's because he can't turn the air conditioning off. The circulation of air has to stay on, so he'll turn the fans off, but there's still this crazy air circulation.
You never thought of just cutting that bud off, taking it in the other room?
No, of course. Listen, Todd, of course. But I've told many people when they ask me about how to do this photography that I said, if you want to be able to do it anywhere, learn this way and then learn all the other tricks. If you start with these tricks, they'll stunt your ability to go and handheld an MPE 5D Mark III in your hand, and you won't be able to get the shot on the fly. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of shots to be gotten on the fly when you're just in a grow room, not in a studio situation where you're having the buds hand cut and delivered. Those are amazing. That's like the dream. And of course, I have a situation where I shoot the odd thing like that, usually hash. But when it comes to living plants, I usually shoot them in someone's grow room. I never say, can I cut these buds and go take them into the other room or home or whatever.
It would also be nice to have a historical little book that showed micro photography of cannabis, but from a historical point of view, with the first ones first. I remember there was those old Electron black and white ones.
Those were Yoop Dumas's. Or no, that was previous to Yoop. Yoop had color ones. You might be talking before
what
him.
I'm talking about was, you can ask Rob about it.
I've seen it. It's beautiful. It's all rigid and all the stock.
It was a guy somewhere. It was somebody we both knew. Me and Rob, we knew him. And he had one in his basement.
Nice. Todd's maybe going to go get it right now. I think Yoop came a little later in the 80s sometimes.
Yes. I've got Yoop's photographs also.
Me as well.
I published it in 96. It's right here.
Yoop was my big inspiration for macro photography, and I will always give him the shout out.
This is the scanning electron photograph in 1996. This is the clearest I was able to get of a trichrome back when this was published in November of 96.
No, but 96, I'm talking before that.
Yeah, it was taken
back then. That was what it was.
Late 70s, early 80s. No, Sam?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Because Yoop was taking the shots I'm pretty sure in the 80s, like 86,
Right.
87 or something.
And then I published this in
was
June of
definitely-
'09, and this is the first layered shots I ever saw published of cannabis. Was my shots. I'd never seen anybody.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not talking about layered though, Todd. I'm talking about scanning electron, where it's coated with gold and done with the scanning electron.
Yeah,
Hold on.
serious.
It's this one. Hold on, look at the screen, Sam. See
Yeah,
that?
no, absolutely correct. Except for it was pre-96.
Well, the first
right. Well, this one is absolutely this, but this is the scanning electron photograph. At the time, we were not able to get like the stuff I'm looking at, Dynasty Genetics. We were not able to get shots like this with the gear we had.
No, but in 2008, perhaps your giddy aunt printed a shot that looked just like this. It was really the first clear dome hash shot. Do you remember it, Sam, on the screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he was a kid from London. I met him in 2004, and he brought me a framed photo. This is my photo that was inspired by his photo, but his photo looked very, very similar to this. He took just epic quality full melt shots, and they were the shots that inspired me to get the MPE lens.
Right on. Yeah, that lens changed everything for me. I first got that lens in 2008 myself, and it was just like, whoa, material changed everything.
Yeah,
you know
2008.
what I use for stacking now more is I use the 100mm Canon, because when you stack with the lens that has an autofocus feature, you don't have to move the camera or the subject. I can actually move the focal ring inside of the lens with increments, so I can actually make my steps.
Oh yeah, stack from the back forward or before.
You absolutely nailed it, Mark. Yeah, it's absolutely
Instead
right.
of left and right.
Do you have the 180 macro?
Oh yeah.
You do have the 180mm macro.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of those photos. I haven't fucked with that one yet. I have the 50 and the 100, but I use the 100 predominantly.
I just grabbed them all in the early day. It's funny because I got the MPE, and the way it was explained to me, it was like, listen, the MPE starts where all the other macro lenses end. So they go to like 1.1. If you're lucky, you'll get a true macro out of these lenses. And then from there, that's literally where the MPE lens starts. So I started with bugs. That was another tip. Start with bugs because they move and they'll really teach you about the flow of the camera, moving the camera, being comfortable with holding the camera, and learning how to take the shot when everything is clear. That is incredibly difficult. The holy grail of macro shots is not the water droplet that you may have seen many times, but it's the bug in mid-flight that's perfectly in focus. To get that with a handheld camera is, I mean, you can give yourself a serious pat on the back. You have worked.
Well, it's a lot easier now that you're using electronics and digital.
Absolutely.
You have to use film, and you had to take hundreds of pictures to find one you want to save.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Just had to take a break and tell FM to bugger off. He's saying that this shit is boring. Hey, we're just having a conversation. If it's boring, by all means, bugger off. Or not, whatever, you know, or ask us a question that may inspire the conversation to move a little bit towards the way you want it to move. But
well, it's funny though. I feel like everybody's into photography now. I mean, when I first got into it in the 80s, people always were like, why do you do that? And now everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got an Instagram. Everybody's now looking at composition and trying to frame their ideas and, you know.
Well, that's because of these things.
They say cell phones. We didn't have these in the 80s.
No, I had bulky camera gear. I only had 36 shots on a roll of film, and I had to go back, and then I had to develop that. It was so pain in the ass, really.
And you had to hope whatever happened, as opposed to you can actually now look at and see if you can flick it out or go forward.
Well, it taught you how to take a good shot because you had a limited opportunity to do it.
I got 5,796 photos on my phone. That's pretty good.
That's a nice roll of film, right? No, and when I first started off, I was actually developing all my own shots, black and white shots, and it was great. I loved doing it, using the gels and the exposure times. It was awesome. It's what got me hooked on it at an early age. And then combining my hobbies of growing and photography and then computers just was a natural.
Good combination. It happened for me the same way. In 1999, I bought my first digital camera. Overgrow and cannabisculture.com and cannabis.com and cannabisworld.com were all just starting to take off. I remember Breeder Steve saying, come over to this website, overgrow.com, and check it out. I'll be in the Shark Tank. I had no idea what that meant, but that's basically where all the trolls hang out, and he just fucking loved it. He just was like troll slayer. And maybe even trolling a bit himself. I don't know, but he turned me on to Overgrow, and I went over there, and that's really where bubble bags began. The sales of bubble bags, the photo essays, the photographs, the macro photographs didn't start till 2008. So from 99 till 2008, I was just shooting digital with, the best possible camera that I could find. And those cameras were extremely expensive for the time, multiple thousands of dollars for a 2.1 megapixel Sony CyberShot. Ouch. 2.1 megapixels.
That's funny. When I get out of prison, I got a 5 megapixel camera for my birthday.
What was that? 2004?
Yeah.
I just know from the megapixel count of the cameras. Oh my God. Yeah, I know it's boring. I heard you the first time. Can anyone help? I have a friend in Madrid, says she has a hard time finding real quality meds. I don't know the med climate there. Madrid, geez, I don't know. There must be things going on in Madrid, or take a trip to Barcelona, because it seems like it's pretty simple in Barcelona to find the goods.
When I was in Barcelona the other month, they did say there is a facility in Madrid, but there's only one, and everybody's kind of watching what's going, because it's supposedly a kind of a you have to be kind of crazy to open in Madrid, and this guy is apparently fits that mold, and everybody's kind of taking this sit back and wait see, because Madrid's capital, and so they've sent out the Gestapo numerous times to crackheads in various cities that have attempted to do things. I don't know where this facility is in Madrid, but I am aware there is a facility now, a private club in Madrid, so look around.
What a strange hypocrisy that Madrid and the University of Madrid, I'm pretty sure, is where Cristina Sanchez did the majority of her work on the apoptosis THC work. And in the same place, they can't have cannabis as a medicine. You can't dispense cannabis to people who are sick. Oh, you're muted, Todd. Go ahead.
I was just saying that is ironic when you think about it.
That's fucking seriously ironic, bro.
Complutense University is leading, and when you watch The Scientist, it shows him getting his award in Spain, in Madrid, for his contributions to medicine through CBD, THC, the ECS, anandamide. Sam, who is responsible for the endocannabinoid system discovery? I know that Meshulam gets credit for anandamide.
What about Lumiere Hansen?
Well, the receptors were discovered by, I think it was Alan Hewitt, a lady who's a member of the ICRS, if I remember correctly, but one of you can Google it and it will tell you, but that's not the endocannabinoid system, but it's the original receptors.
Right, the receptors. The discovery of the CB1 and the CB2 receptors were what led to the incredible discovery of the ECS, or the endocannabinoid system.
And
because once they started mapping the receptors, they started seeing that the CB1s were in our mind and the CB2s were all over our body, if I'm correct.
And the anandamide was discovered in Meshulam's lab by Bill Devane and team.
Right, and for those listening, anandamide is two words, ananda and mide. And from what I read, it means internal and bliss, which is really cool. Yeah, internal bliss.
That was made up by Bill Devane.
I always thought that was a nice little touch. And didn't they discover anandamide like almost on the anniversary of Meshulam discovering either CBD or THC?
That I don't know.
So what is Dr.
Amazing history.
What is Dr. Lumiere credited with then?
He was part of the discovery of THC.
Oh.
as far as I understand.
Right, and that only happened in '63, correct?
THC was, I think it was finally adjudicated in 1964.
Yeah, okay. It's amazing to think of how.
Oh, no. It says he worked with William Anthony Devane in 92 and isolated
okay.
and
So he was working with Devane. Okay.
First described the structure of anandamide, which on Wikipedia is written as endogenous
I wasn't
cannabinoid
sure,
hormones.
but that sounds like it could be true.
Right.
I do believe that Amanda is Sanskrit. Somebody was just writing.
It is correct.
Yep.
Interesting.
Hey guys, I gotta go.
Take it off,
I will
T.
see you. Yeah, you betcha. Going for a bike ride. Maybe.
Nice.
I was riding through. I rode to Penticton yesterday and back, and I seen at least a dozen wineries with nice buildings, and you go there, you have these little tastings, and you eat these incredible pizzas. Like you would love these, Mark. Like real good ones. All kinds of different foods, and it's a good time. I was just thinking, wouldn't that be awesome to have all of those as marijuana farms that you could go and taste and test all the hashes? And
what about the
the
children? What about the children, though?
Guys, it's happening here. There are farms in Northern California that are opening up for tours after the Patients Out of Time conference.
We need it on a federal legal level across Canada, is I think what Dee's saying. I see your vision, and I love it.
Like everywhere, all the farms everywhere. But anyways, I'm out, you guys. Happy hashing day. Peace.
All right, brother.
Lovers. Bone rip.
Peace, Dan.
Have a great day,
guys.
dude. And welcome.
I'll see you guys this week. I'm coming down tomorrow.
Awesome. We'll be around.
Stop on by.
What's going on, Tony?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How goes the day there in sunny California?
It's going pretty good. I'm pretty beat down and tired from yesterday. We did the first day at the Cup. Just woke up a little while ago.
Well, I think Todd and Etienne are heading down there today.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there was we were supposed to be in the Gold Drop booth, but then there was a full booth next to Lemon Tree that actually opened up. So we took that, and lots of people were confused. So I guess it was kind of hard to find us, but it's kind of in that area. It's just across from where Gold Drop is, but literally next to Lemon Tree booth. If anyone wants to come find us today.
Oh, I suspect a few people might want to come find you. I've been getting some good feedback on the Cup so far. They've been enjoying the strawberry banana, and of course the lemonades and the iced coffees and the.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we made full melt in your mouth. That was kind of the theme, where I could sprinkle some of that cookies and cream right into your hand and you can eat it. And that was kind of a mind trip for a lot of people. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, you can just eat the full melt. Just put it in your mouth and eat it. So ironically, it became a new product because people were like, oh, instead of the drinks, can we just buy that? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I guess you could buy the terp sugars and the full melt. And then Lemon Tree, we gave them like 150 grams of it, and they're like, they didn't even know what to do with it. So at the end, I was like, let me see your bottled water. I took the water off and I dropped some of it inside the water, and I just shook it up and let it sit, and it suspended itself, which I'm going to show a little video today. And it's different because it suspends itself very well in the water, so you get the full taste of the full melt, and you get like the taste, the sweetener, and the THCA all in the beverage. So I don't know, it's pretty good. We sold out of the lemonade already, so we just got coffee and tea left. But the coffee, cookies and cream coffee, I got to go see Cuban today because he said he wanted to try it. He wanted to eat some of the cookies and cream as well.
Of course.
Dude, it's pretty good. It's only 20 milligrams, but it feels like 75 or 60 at least. It was a lot stronger than I thought it was going to feel. And I think by adding I don't know if the terp sugar modulates a little bit, kind of like how we add terps to hash or you add terps to anything else, it kind of increases the effects. it definitely, in a beverage, it definitely increased the effects of what was going on. And it's not activated THC, it's THCA. So that was also another different kind of experiment that I was very pleased with, the way it made me feel, because I'm usually a lightweight with edibles, but a lot of people are coming back saying it was like a very pleasant, long-lasting feeling.
Well, I guess that's the trick for a cup. You don't really want to destroy people and have them laying all over the place, do you?
No, I didn't want to be that way, but I could tell you after, like, I was talking to a group of people that had a brewery company, like a coffee company, that really wanted to engage with that. And they were about halfway through my cup of coffee that I had with them. I actually lost complete train of thought. Like, I was just like spaced. I was just like, whoa. I looked down at the coffee cup and I was like, yeah, I guess this 20 milligrams seems a little stronger, huh? But it really was only 20 milligrams. It just felt extremely strong. So
that's awesome.
We were topping it off with OG sugar terp. But I'm going to send you some of the OG and some of the Jack so you can play with it at home and see what it's talking about. There was a lot of chefs, that saute and had some good ideas. They're like, oh, I could saute a fish and ceviche and all this different stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you could. So it's always fun to release something new at these events, let people kind of experiment with them.
Nice.
So, but yeah, yesterday was the grind. A lot of people, it always takes a toll on you for 12 hours straight or so.
Just giving out dabs and lemonades?
Yep. So I'm going to do a lot more dabs today because those beverages are going to be gone, which is good. But what else? I'm going to make my rounds today. Talk to some different people. Probably going to go see Cuban. Did you see that he cut all his hair off?
I'm not sure that I did. Where would I see that?
Yo, he came up to me and he was like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, what's up? And he was like, it took me like 30 seconds. I was like, oh, what's up, man? I was like, I didn't even recognize you. He's like, yeah, I cut it off last night. I'm like, damn, you look good. He was like, kind of looked like a completely different guy.
That's generally what happens when did he shave too, or just his hair?
No, just his head.
Okay. That's probably why you still recognized him.
Yeah, if he would have shaved his beard, no way I would have recognized him.
That's wild. That's cool. Well, right on. He's just wanted to get rid of his dreads or what?
I guess so. I don't know. He was trying to clean up his image a little bit. I don't know. But he definitely looks totally different. I think it looks better, but that's just coming from a guy that doesn't have a lot of hair.
Yes. Someone's asking, did Cuban join Team Cue Ball?
Cue Ball? No. He's got hair up there. It's thick.
Did he look as different as Nika T did when he lost his dreads? Asks Brett Maverick.
Yes. Same exact thing. When Nika T lost his dreads, you're like, whoa. Different,
Yeah.
Big change. But I mean, you once upon a time were a hairy guy too, so I'm sure.
Once upon a time. I saw
pictures of you with long dreads as well.
Well, I guess it's something we all have in common. When you get
what was the longest your dreads got, Bubbleman?
Well, my hair. I had long hair that ended up kind of getting dready at a few points in time, but my hair went like halfway down my back or whatever, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
Yes, Taman, don't half dread fi rasta. True story. Although it is debated, I see it debated amongst my Rasta friends on their Facebook pages every once in a while. They'll be like,
don't give no power to no bald head.
It's funny. Well, you know what? I do believe Jah does give power to all.
Well, I wanted to chime in for a second today and walk in my Darman that doesn't allow me to smoke cannabis. So,
what's not letting you?
Well, no, I'm in a house now that.
Did you say you're in a house that doesn't let you smoke cannabis? You froze up right at that point. But if
Yeah,
you,
that's what it sounds like. And
if you seriously moved into a house where you can't smoke cannabis, oh my God.
didn't he just get out of a spot that he didn't smoke cannabis at?
Oh, no, that can't even be for real. That can't
Wait
be.
a minute.
What?
Doesn't that means he can smoke resin though? Yeah.
Yeah, just resin,
Yeah.
not cannabis.
Yeah.
He's back. Can you really not smoke cannabis at the house you're in?
No, the one I'm in now, I can. The one I was in before, no.
Okay, God, thank you.
Okay, we thought you moved into another. I'm like, why did you do that?
Oh, hell no. Here, hold on a second.
Hell no, exactly. Okay, I was going to say that did not fit.
Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see if I can.
All right, if it's somewhere you're staying at right currently, not allowing you to smoke, and that's why you're
No,
outside.
that was before, remember? Now I've got plenty of room. Plenty of room to smoke. Right? Not a problem.
And what is this? Is this your house you're at right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't even tell. Is that your deck?
Yeah, on the roof.
Oh, the roof. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you that tree right there is a savior on a sunny day.
It's a big eucalyptus, it's like 100 feet tall or something.
Yeah, but it's the savior from the massive sun burning down on that deck in the middle of the day, isn't it? Doesn't it give you a bit of shade?
Yeah, look.
I'm always blown away at people that cut all the trees out in front of their house for the view. I'm like, I like to keep a few.
Maybe what they're trying to do is protect their house in case of a fire.
So they make their fire out of wood, or they make their house out of wood.
They make a fire break so that there's no trees burning near the house if the trees burn.
Right. Yeah, I think they have to deal with that in the Okanagan the same as they have to deal with it in California. Bummer.
Well, I'm going to try to make the journey out there. It's getting a little later, so I got to round up the troops. But
how far is it away?
Like an hour. Not so bad.
Takes you an hour to get to the Cannabis Cup?
Yep.
Shit, that's not too bad at all, considering how big California is. How about for you, Todd?
Same. He doesn't live but 20 minutes from me, north
Beautiful.
smidgen.
Beautiful. So you guys all have just about an hour. That's not too bad.
He lives.
Oh, Tony, yeah, I'll tell you later.
Yeah. I would say I live a little closer than you. I'm going to actually fly my drone over to you soon. I was going to freak you out, but I think
don't freak out the wrong neighbor.
I was going to try to fly into your living room, to be honest with you, but then I thought you'd probably break it or shoot it or something.
Remember when I flew my drone over that huge house in Kingston and Buddy was like, man, him never coming home.
Yeah, ever.
It's kind of true. Yeah, no, hey, that'd be funny. I wonder how far we are from each other now. Well, I'll drive. We'll find out.
Not very far, but I got to make the moves, guys. I did want to chime in, and I did try. I think Indra's up there. Is Indra on there? No. Indra's not there anymore.
No, he said he was going to try and come in from the cup today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to hang out with him yesterday. I tried his terpenes. He wiped me out of our strawberry banana goo. He's like, "Oh, I want to buy all of it." I'm like, "Well, all right." That's pretty funny. But yeah, his terpenes are pretty interesting. I'm gonna try to get them tested. They're not like any other terpenes I've had before.
Nice.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Is that your dog, or is that just Michael
Yeah,
Manning pretending to be a dog?
No, she's going crazy. Let me let you guys go.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for coming in. We may see you later from the cup.
All right.
See you later, Tony.
All right, see you guys there. Bye.
Boom. Nice and quick. Well, it's already 10:33. We've blazed on for, I think I need another bong rip, actually. I think maybe one of these little guys again. It's very tasty. I'm not going to lie. I love the small piece for that concentrated rip of concentrate, no doubt.
Yeah, you're starting to see more pipe builders go smaller because of that. You know, you've even seen motherships evolve from being very tall to now becoming smaller and smaller because as the advancements in the production of cannabis, be it water, BHO, what have you. You're getting now flavors, and now with terps, etc. It makes exponentially better hit for some reason out of the smaller pieces. So it's interesting to watch as the different technologies happen, as they started off with the with the male, receptors now for the original nails that were out there now, due to the, D-nails and electric nails and other things like that, how the receptors are now female. And so it's been a constant change of the paraphernalia to go along with the technology advancements, and each pushing each other to the point of what we have today.
I wish growers were pushing the innovation and the quality bar the way glassblowers have been for the last 5 years solid here. I just see less and less, like, whatever you want to call it, quads, 10s, whatever you want to call the full melt, the best, the 6-star bubble hash. I just don't see enough people growing it. I see so many people diluted by other aspects of the journey. And I'm like, why don't you just pay attention to getting the best herb that you can possibly grow first? And once you get that, then you can hone in on all your extraction processes, because then you'll be unveiling a quality that is worthy of being unveiled. Because, a lot of this stuff sometimes just is not really worthy of being unveiled. And then it looks badly upon almost the purity of the product. People that can't see it with their naked eye, they're like, it doesn't look that well. And it's like, well, I assure you the purity is 100% on point. The quality, however, is only going to be as good as, the person and the genetics that went into the grow in the first place.
And the really obvious example of that is if you took and you wanted to make some resin, whether by dry sifting or water hash or whatever, and you started with a hemp variety, you might get really, really, really pure resin in the end if you did everything you knew to do it. But I don't think you'd like it.
No, I can assure you that I don't like it. I had it happen to me. In fact, I had Johnny B give me a big bag of material and be like, oh, you got to clean this. It's supposed to be really nice. It's this particular, it's high CBD or something. I'm like, high CBD? I'm like, I'll play with it a little bit. I played with it and I was like, this is insane. It was literally like some weird field shit. I cleaned shit out of it that has never been found in resin before. And ended up finding out that it was hemp, and that it had been harvested along with all these other herbs that grow amongst the hemp. And so some of these hairs from these herbs had contaminated the final product. It was definitely, I was like, dude, what are you doing getting me to clean hemp? I definitely was not overly excited about the end result, but I think they learned some things from the extraction. I'm not sure. Here in Canada, it's not even legal to extract the CBD or any of the cannabinoids from hemp plants, for that matter. I don't even think we're legally allowed to extract terpenes.
CBD is, of course, very dangerous to the average person. I mean, it would make them, if you smoked enough CBD, you'd probably get pretty pissed off and angry, and maybe you'd want to go smoke a joint or something.
And then when you smoke the joint, you might not be able to get high.
If it was soon enough after the CBD, maybe.
Yeah, I'm down with everyone having. My new thing is not just the quiver for hash and for extraction processes, but the quiver for everything. Meaning, I don't want to fight against any processes that already exist. Let's just clean them up. I don't want to fight against any access that we already have. Let's just make it better, but not take any away that we currently have. It seems insane from my perspective. And that's sort of been like a repeating motto that I've been going over on my Wake and Bake shows lately. Just sort of.
But when you say don't remove any of the models that exist, you mean parlor dealing, like buying stuff from your friends?
I mean, like anything. Like if we have access points for cannabis, they should be improved upon, not removed.
Do you not think there will be an evolution in, what we're calling access points? Because if a package of cannabis moves into stores like a pack of papers did, and you can go into relatively any local 7-Eleven store and pick up, a bottle of Budweiser or a pack of Zigzags,
Awesome.
or what'll become a dime bag or something. Do you not see that being kind of an evolution of access points?
Yeah, I want more access points. I just don't want less. Absolutely. That is an absolute.
It's inevitable.
Don't you all see this going into becoming a commodity, just like Jack Daniels and Jim Beam, and you'll have liquor stores and you'll have stores that carry it.
Well,
like
not yes and no. That's one aspect of the quiver, but also what the cannabis community has and what the cannabis plant has is something that Jack Daniels will never have, which is this unique community, this healing power, this ability to feed the endocannabinoid system, this whole different aspect of medical and preventative and recreational. Go ahead, Etienne. You seem to have a good point to make there.
Well, I agree. In time, it will, but right now we can't deal. We're dealing with the newness of it. I think we're still a few generations away because of the, the nuts and bolts of where it has to be, how it is, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be some time where these distribution models that are still being set up in these states where it's legal per se, whereas we don't have the mail order system that you there have in Canada. Because it's still a federal offense to mail any cannabis, period, legal or not. I mean, that's just how it is currently. So it's going to be some time before even that's even allowed. Federal law would have to change in the United States to allow for legal mailing per se for the, in fact, federal level, because it's the feds that are actually handling that. But I do believe
there's an Amazon of cannabis, right?
Right. There will be,
from the perspective of when we met. I mean, 20 years have gone by and we've seen a 180. And now, if we continue to see as rapid a change, as we've seen in the last 2 decades, I believe that we will see store-bought cannabis in a time that's quicker than you might imagine.
Well, you'll see. I mean, we had the first. I mean, when in LA, we had the first vending machine. So I could see in time they'll have vending machines and things like that that will dispense cannabis more universally. So that will lead to then once it's seen for a generation or so that it's not as harmful, and more of these old people die off, and more of these younger people that have been exposed to cannabis as adults and see no harm in it, then we'll start to see that gravitation change. But I don't know if we'll see that.
Hey, fuck you
in the
with
next
that old
5
people
years.
die off bullshit.
No, you know what I mean, in the sense of the older I kind of class against prohibitionists. It has nothing to do with older people per se, because I'm considered old because I'm over 42, so I'm in that same category. But I'm talking about those that are the prohibitionists that we have grown up with, that I've grown up with, that have been staunchly in it. They've moved past most of their legislative stages and are now moving into their later stages of their lives or passing away. And that influence has now caused that suction of the newer thinking and the more less ideological prohibitionists to now fight against, when you have Sessions, who is now the current attorney general at the moment, when he comes out and comes against, and comes out for the drug war, you see a pushback that we would have never seen in the past. And that is causing waves and a pushback that we would have never had given the successes that we have currently with cannabis and will continue to see. But I agree, Todd, in the future, it will be everywhere, but I still think we're still a couple of generations away.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong, everyone. Please go out there and change federal law and tell this whole fuck to shut the fuck up, because I'd be happy to shut up.
One of the things you have to do is build those little gumball vending machines, but instead of gumballs, they sell hash balls for $0.25.
That'd be
Well,
sweet.
yesterday at the Cup, I took a decent sized dab with a policeman standing 1 foot from me, one policeman on either side of me. They were looking right at me, and I took the biggest dab I could possibly take. And then I blew the smoke out, and it was very enjoyable taking a dab in front of cops. I got to say, that was not something that I envisioned would even have in my lifetime, but there it was.
Welcome, Indra. How was the cup going yesterday?
Good. We're getting ready to go back over there now in a few minutes. So it should
Are
be-
you an hour away as well, or are you closer?
No, my son's house is about 10 blocks, 5 minutes away from the cup.
Nice.
So
It's,
yeah, we just wander over there and get right in. It was a lot of fun yesterday. A lot of he's wandering around. All kinds of different people. Somebody made some new kind of water hash, which is in this kinds of cups, but there's no labels on it or anything. They gave it to me yesterday. He said, try this, let us know. It's amazing stuff. It's some kind of water hash that they have developed. Here's a picture of it. I don't know if you can see it or not.
A little higher.
See it?
You can get glimpses of it. But yeah, that's also one of the things that I've found when I go around there is that, yeah, if it's not labeled, it's kind of hard to discern because so many people come up and give you stuff.
Spongy, but it's not. When you dig into it in the middle, and on Talk Snarly is amazing. We're going to be today. There, I mean, party. And by the way, on Wednesday, we'll be putting out the pictures of the first birthing of the Indra extraction system that came out of the foundry. So it should be pretty interesting. I'll stick the pictures up so everybody can see.
boom.
A commercial.
Well, hopefully it's another good day. Tony was just in here a little while ago talking about going down there soon. I think Todd and Etienne are maybe going to head down there in a little bit. Sounds like it's going to be a pretty good day. I wish I had a cup to go to. I'm not going to lie.
It's a lot of fun. I sat with Tony for about 20 or 25 minutes yesterday, dabbing and tucking the terpene stuff. And,
nice.
You know, I've got this huge bottle of terpenes that we collect now and in a very short period of time. And they're pretty interesting. Tony just vaped just the terpenes, dab it in some oil and terpenes. Then he turned around and looked at me with this kind of wicked smile on his face. And he said, that's something right.
Yeah, he was just on a minute ago and he was talking about them. He just actually popped off because he had to go get ready to pop down there. So I'll see you down there today, Indra.
All right. Well, I got a bottle and I will dab you silly.
Well, I'll just do a dab. I don't need to be silly. I'm silly naturally.
You and me both. Yeah, I'll see you over there. I'll be over there. We're going to leave here, so I'm going to drop off for now, guys. But just wanted to, I got a lot of video and a lot of stuff going on there, and I'll share it online.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for coming in. We'll maybe see you later at the cup.
Yeah, I'll try to ring it again once I get over there and give you some real-time video. Running, there's about 15 girls running around topless there.
Is Indra cutting out for everyone?
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, you're cutting out bad, Indra, unfortunately.
You're unfortunately choppy.
Really choppy.
How's that? Is that any better? Did that make a difference, what I just did?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll turn the amplifier on when we're over there, but we should have good reception over there. I think I got 5G over there yesterday. So we'll try. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.
Have a good one, Indra.
All right. Bye-bye.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Yeah, it's kind of always been my thing ever since, I was a young one. Just be safe.
It's good to be safe. I mean, what a nice message to send everyone off on.
No, it's out of love. It's out of, appreciation to whatever you do out there. Be safe along the way there, so that we may meet again at another time in another place.
It's someone who's lived life and understands the crushing blows that it can deliver at any given point in time.
Really? Life could do that?
Be safe. Be safe. Oh yeah, dude, if you don't pay attention, you can burn your fucking house right down to the ground.
A week before Christmas even.
Oh my God. Be safe. Be safe, Etienne.
Be safe with matches.
Yeah, be safe on motorcycles. Be safe with matches. There's a whole bunch of different situations that I think that it is appropriate for.
Todd would say, be safe with what you eat.
Prophet Marcus says, no one is safe. Be ready for any time. I'm like, well, I feel pretty safe right now, but it's true. My heart could explode.
I think Prophet Marcus is correct.
Yeah, I think he might be. Shit. Well, let us then send off one another under the illusion of safety by saying, be safe.
And it's just a ride.
And it's just a ride. It's just a ride. Bill Hicks. If you don't know who Bill Hicks is, I implore you to go watch every single bit of comedy that he's ever done.
Everything.
All of it until you've doubled up and you're like, okay, I think I got it all. It's
then you get it and you're like, oh, wow. Because he was a comics comic. He was ahead of his time. Still comics today listen to him in reverence and speak of him in hushed tones and reverence for the influence he had and the unabashed honesty to confront life at its simplest, but talk so honestly about the drug war in the darkest days of the drug war, when everybody else was capitulating to the drug war. He's like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah, for real.
And here's why, and communicate it in such a way where you're like, yeah. I mean, that's a great communicator.
What is the pot of gold crossed with the Hindu Kush, Sam? Someone wants you to talk a little bit about that. They've got some starting. Did you do a cross?
I'm sorry, my microphone was off. It's skunk crossed with Hindu Kush.
The pot of gold. The pot of gold. That was what was that? Eddie? Did they sell that?
It was also called POG. POG.
Yeah, Flying Dutchman. No? That's what I learned. I first saw the POG in Manitoba in the 90s. Like that's when we saw the POG.
We don't see it down here anymore.
It also made really nice water hash.
True story. True story. It did. I had a friend bring me a huge puck, like a big frozen puck. It wasn't even dried or anything. It was literally a frozen puck. He drove all the way across the country to give me a frozen puck of 70 grams of bubble or something. And I basically, sieved it and dried it all out into beautifulness, rolled it all up into this crazy big ball of shiny, glimmery hash. Back in the day when I was more Frenchy-esque with my hash. Nowadays I just love the never touched. I love the I want it to be touched as little as possible, and then when it goes in my bowl, I just know that it's clean. It's not. I'll never forget.
I don't want to smoke body oil. I don't.
Dude, I'm never. Listen. I'm telling you
exactly what you're thinking.
Listen, that ruined everything, for that whole experience for me. I was like, that's off the table. That's no longer an option to do that. Just whew, those oils, man.
Mark and I was at a Legends, and he got some Nepalese finger hash handed to him, and he put it on a really clean pipe, and he was doing a bong hit, and you were using a hemp wick, or it was over the top. And I had all these clean trippy sticks because me and Emilio, who owned Trippy Stick, were there, and we were dropping the samples into perfectly clean, brand new chambers to taste it. And when I dropped it into the vaporizer and I hit the button, it tasted nasty. And then Emilio asked me for it, and I know. Yeah, and his first response was, "Man, that tastes like feet." And
He did. He said that exact quote, and I was like, and I was also impressed with that guy because it wasn't just like Nepali finger rub. It was a finger rub from his crop. He rubbed 7 grams of bubble-like resin. It looked like bubble. It didn't have leaf and contaminant in it. He somehow managed to keep it very clean, but he definitely did not use gloves, used his fingers, and it was very, I bet he even did it in a hot room. Like, I think there was a little bit of sweat going on in there. There's some sweat terps, but
yeah,
it was a bummer.
Forever after was my thing after that.
That guy was just deflated in that moment. He was just destroyed and crushed by the fact that, you know, that he brought the foot hash to the Legends of Hash. It's like, oh, you brought that foot shit?
Well, part of the problem was it wasn't good enough to melt and bubble. It kind of sagged, but it didn't melt and bubble.
Right.
It didn't pass Sam's test.
Yeah, someone's talking about Joe Rogan was a little bit down on people dabbing a week ago, spouting all kinds of foolishness while he smoked a joint. Todd needs to set him straight. You might need to go give him an updated version of education on cannabis.
Go do dabs. Yeah, well, it could happen too.
Go bring him some nice, micro dabs with some nice terps. Not so he can understand that it's not just getting destroyed. But at the same time, the metaphor I would use with Joe is that the same way Joe, you may be able to kick a hard bag or even one of those wooden things with your shin because of all the years of practice. Someone else that does it might shatter their shin. So dabs might be the same way. You can get into it, you learn, and we become accustomed to be able to taking these dabs in a way that maybe you feel destroyed by a single one, but I assure you that those are not how our shins react.
Yeah, Todd, you need to get on that. Got to stop this misinformation.
I didn't see what he was talking about, but I'll bring it up.
Well, go watch it first and get on point. Maybe it's nothing, but usually the group here is pretty accurate. I have faith that it's probably. I think I saw him saying something about how you get really demotivated and you can't be motivated or something like that.
See, I think that's just an amplification of smoking the wrong strains.
Right.
Because, I would say the same thing for a long time until I discovered the hazes and the true equatorials when I got to Europe, because they weren't around me when I was in North America. And when I discovered those varieties, Cali, Minas, Stanel, 5x Haze, I looked at cannabis totally differently, and I can't say that enough. Most of the cannabis we get in North America is really more narcotic-like than it is creative and energetic-like, and that's just going to change as we get an access to more varieties of cannabis that flower in longer than 10 and 11 weeks, but most of the cannabis that we're smoking now is well under 10 and 11 week cultivars.
Right.
It's just the way it is because of Prohibition, the way it used to be.
Well, that's why I haven't, I have to say this before I say anything. I've never had an interest in autoflowering. In fact, it kind of bums me out, particularly when I want to keep a clone or veg it. I'm just like, what the fuck? And I've never really found cultivars that I have an appreciation for. You
can keep autoflowering clones alive by getting them to produce callus and putting the callus in a test tube. It's not photoperiod determinate.
Right. Well, I'm not quite there, I will admit. I'm just doing the old cloning and not rocking the test tubes.
Also, too, I wanted to say I need to go someplace, so I'll take off and I'll be back as quick as I can, and maybe I'll be able to join church while it's still happening. Maybe I'm saying goodnight. Good night.
Awesome, Sam. Hopefully we see you back here. But what I was going to talk about was some of the autoflowering cultivars that Reefer Man sent me photos and information on. Has my interest peaked? Cutting out the veg period and just having the whole period be flowering, 120 days of just flowering, I like that. I'm not going to lie. Well, it's a good start. If the cultivars taste good, if they have that flavor and that resin effect. So he has assured me that they're unique, and so I'll see them in the next couple of months and maybe make some hash with them and let everyone know what they're like.
I just think that now that we're going to move into this legal cannabis area, that people will start growing all of the different available varieties they have without fear. And all these seeds that have been sitting around, people will not, be afraid of opening, sprouting and growing and
I hope so.
experiencing and letting them go to their full fruition.
Yeah.
Well, you're also, the great thing is now you've also got all these Californians and all these places that can now grow cannabis. And now you've got these curious gardeners that have doing these amazing things with their own gardens and tomatoes, et cetera, that now are going to have focus on cannabis now because they can, and they're going to tinker, and we're going to come out and some new things will come out of it over time, but it's going to take some time. But I'm excited to think about, those new things that are going to come to light, as well as those things are going to come out of the darkness, those things that are hidden off in the little valleys and things that were found all in little places around the world that are still, F1s out there that are available to make its way into the world and make its way so that we can all have different experiences, new flavonoids, new terpenes, all these types of combinations that we're going to find in the coming time as more people are playing with cannabis and are growing these genetics. I mean, it should be a bumper fucking year for cropping cannabis in California. I have no idea in Canada, what it's going to look like, but I would figure, Prohibition's got to be feeling a lot of hurt right now.
Right. And remember, in California now, anything over the 6 plant limit is simply a misdemeanor. And there was a great article floating around saying it didn't matter if it was 2 or 2,000 plants, it was still going to be charged as a misdemeanor. So now there's really no fear in growing cannabis now. And if you're medical, there's no plant limit in California, which is just fantastic. And then the latest thing is there was a push to make all of California a sanctuary state for cannabis, which basically means that the state advises the local police to not cooperate with the federal authorities when it comes to investigations or acting as their strong arm of the law, which is usually how it works. I mean, the locals always cooperate with the feds, but in this situation, it's going to act much as the way San Francisco and other cities act with illegals, where the local city of San Francisco won't cooperate with ICE raids and things like that. And it looks as if they're going to be doing this for California and cannabis. And, I think it's a good thing, but I think it's mainly to protect the income they see coming in, because obviously they see this as a windfall for the state of California.
And this is something that spawned from the local things. This is what we spawned in Berkeley, this exact initiative back in the day, in the early 2000s, when we were dealing directly with the feds coming into California. We got our city to pass a resolution, and it's one of those things that have built up over time, and it's made its way all the way up to the state level. So here we are, with that type of protection now within the state of California, which makes me very proud as a Californian to see them take, and as a business person in California, to see them take these types of steps. But it's also been through dogged determination to get here, and we're still not there yet. We still have the new regulations coming down to see what we're dealing with, and that's changing, and that will change how business is done completely. So what we have known in California is going to change significantly, and it's going to be better for the consumer, for the individual growers and the small growers. It's going to be a painful growing process and learning process, but for the consumer themselves, they're the beneficiary.
Anything that protects us and gives us a right to have access, it makes us a beneficiary. I mean, in my opinion, I've always advocated for cannabis for everybody. I'm never going to worry about where the profits fall. I think that that's not ever been part of why we should pursue the legality of cannabis. It's because it's good for humanity and it's the right thing to do.
Yep. That's why we've always turned profits that we have into organizations and into changing the laws so that our influence goes beyond just selling weed, which, we love that we do, but we always felt and have had a responsibility to those that are still locked up. As we tell people, you know, never forget, somebody's still in jail for this right now, currently as we speak. Someone's going to jail for it right now as we speak. Somebody's life is being ruined right now. Somebody just got kicked off of assistance. Somebody just got kicked out of housing. Somebody just lost their financial assistance in school. Somebody lost their trade. Somebody lost their job because of this plant. Currently, still to this day. And those are reasons why still to this day we contribute and give back and work for change, is because somebody is still going to jail for this plant currently.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's humbling.
Is that cap on edibles still going to be in place, do you think?
Well,
I think it should be too, though. You know, I think that like Tony's experiencing, I mean, remember Marinols were dosed in 2.5, 5, and 10 milligrams. If you need more, take more. But if you're handing 100 milligrams to somebody, I was once handed 450 friggin' milligrams of THC, and I thought it was 50. And when I took it, I was fortunately on an 11-hour flight to Amsterdam, but I was so high. Oh my God.
How much was it that you ate?
I ate 450 milligrams of activated THC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a heroic dose. And I agree. It's going to be interesting. I agree. I totally agree, Todd. But at the same point, you know, they sell decadoses and other things, and patients like and use them, those that are in need, because some of these majority of these things are made by patients because they didn't find a product out there that met their physiological need. And so to answer your question, Dr. Sheldon, it's being negotiated at the state level. We don't know. It could be that way. I'm not a fan of the 100. I understand the reasoning behind it. But I also know people who come in every single day and like the high dosage of medicine because they cannot smoke. They cannot smoke while they're at work. They cannot do these things that these edibles are convenient and allow them to do because they don't have an access beyond that. And so I understand it from the patient's point of view and understand why many of them are concerned, because they like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry it if people didn't want the product. But again, a majority of these products have come to us from patients who are like, hey, you know, I tried this and this product that you have and it doesn't work for me. So I made it in this way, and it works for me. See if other patients like it. And so we try it, and if we like it, it's fine. So we've passed around. So it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to make a legislator who is zealous understand that point and flip their script, you know. Easier said than done.
But don't you think that the typical patient would just like, if they're used to getting like 1,000 milligram dose in like one product, that they would just eat 100 milligram products, so it would force them to eat way more.
Well, right, with the calories and all that go with it, that's not healthy. That's not a smart way to titrate, right?
Right, or they should have the option of being able to, I don't know, maybe add an oil to that to supplement it. It just seems like just such an arbitrary number.
It is, and it's an arbitrary number. It's a line.
How hard would it be to take a little bit of, 1 gram of shatter? I mean, if you have it tested or whatever, you could melt it down, put in whatever you want. I mean, it's would.
Oh, I like. Yeah, you don't want to make dabbable product and add it to an edible, right? I mean, mostly what's an edible is probably activated distillate. But the point is could you just have a jar of activated distillate to supplement a dose of an edible that's just not getting the patient where they need to get? So if anything, I would think that, again, putting like 100 milligram limit, especially for a medical patient, if you're fighting chemotherapy or if you have pain issues,
I could see it.
Only the patient really knows how much cannabis is effective for them, and so to arbitrarily cut it at 100 milligrams, I think, is ridiculous.
I think if you make it into a pill, I think that 100 milligram pills, I think I agree with Todd in that sense, because then if you need it, then you take 5 or 10 if you need that type of effect. But when it comes to an edibles, it's edibles and the reason why they're so heavily regulated. I mean, they're illegal in the Netherlands because of people's reaction. People have done harmful things to the point where the Dutch, one of the most pragmatic people that we know out there, like verboten, you know, they're not cool with it at all. So at least we have it in the discussion, and that line is arbitrary, doctor, and we're trying to move that line. Now, whether we're effective in moving that line or not, or where that line lays, I think, Todd, is a debatable and a worthy debate as to, you know, again, I think pill is logical, but when it becomes edibles, that's a whole trippery thing, because again, you have that saturation, you've got what works for people versus what's being imposed to them by the government or the state government. So it's a worthy of discussion, I think.
The main argument in Holland against edibles was the lack of the ability to self-titrate the dose, because, you know, even I did it. I was sitting in a coffee shop called Chocolata in 1994, eating hash bonbons and drinking hot chocolate and coffee, and it was awesome. And fucking a little while later, all those hashish bonbons hit me at the same time, and I was floating. I mean, I was trying to duck the ceiling fan. I was so fucking high. And I can't honestly remember how I got back to wherever it was I stayed, but I think that this is the tough part. I think edibles should be accurately dosed, and people should know that what they're getting, because consistency in edibles is a problem. Accurate dosage is a problem. And I hope to see more professionalism in the products that come forward, you know.
Hey, welcome, Subcool.
Hey, brothers. How you doing?
Good, man. We're just talking about edibles. I did see that someone flipped out at some event in Negril on some edibles, and now Jamaica's making it so you can't give away or sell edibles at entertainment events. And then I also saw, and it seemed like, I think it was like a TMZ story today, but it was like the bass player for Lionel Richie or something.
Lionel Richie's bass player, yeah.
Did he lose his
high
shit?
on edibles and stabbed himself multiple times.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck?
Well, here's my smart ass answer. My smart ass answer is this week I ate 14 CBD edibles at the Cannabis Cup, and I didn't flip the fuck out. I feel okay.
You didn't stab yourself?
I did not stab myself, swear to God.
Well, then you're not going to be making the newspaper tomorrow. Sorry.
Right.
The 7.3 million people in California that ate edibles yesterday, along with this guy that stabbed himself, they all didn't stab themselves, had a wonderful evening, had the best sleep of their lives, was inspired maybe to write a book or create music or be nice to someone. And
I did
guess
not
they won't
see
be written about.
Mark, I did not see any suicides in the medicated snow cone line yesterday. No suicides.
That's got to be rare.
No suicides in the snow cone line.
Medicated.
Are you going back there today? Are you going back there today? So cool.
Oh yeah. We've got an entry. Well, I don't want to be jinxed. Our entry is really good. All the hash makers there smells our Tinto de Verano. It's a brand new strain. It smells like limes. Very brisk, summery, chippy, no burnt rubber smell, and everybody there is just oogling over it. So we also have a cannabis entry in locomotion. And but I just wanted to, this is what I want to tell you. Judge, for the first time in my life at this level, I was one time a long time ago. High Times has stepped it up. They have an electronic scoring system. These samples are fucking impressive. I didn't even know what nitrogen extracts was till yesterday. At least from the 22 samples, at least 10 of them were equally as good, and it came down to what you preferred. Like, this was awesome, and this was awesome, but this tasted like chocolate, and this tasted like cherries. And what I wanted everybody to know is I cannot believe how fair it is, well, man. It is fair. It's not like it was 10 years ago. It's an active electronic system. If I judge one and I really like it, and then I go down the road 2 days later and I'm smoking 14 and I notice, man, I really like this 14, I can go back and look and I can see, you know, 14 is still just a little under 1. I can go in and make a small adjustment, appearance, taste, burnability. And so what I voted for number 1 was my absolute favorite strain. And I just wanted to let you guys know, in the past, I've given these guys crap. This is a seriously fair contest, as fair as it can be in days. So.
Interesting. That's nice that they give you 7 days to do it. I always thought you know, you need some time to it. You need to wake and bake, and you need to go to bed, and you need to have the middle of the day, and you need to have all those experiences, for me anyway, to actually give an accurate description of, you know, how much I like something.
Wait a minute. We know that if you can't judge 100 different varieties in 5 minutes, you're useless as a judge.
That's Legends
But it
of Hash.
really did come down, for me, it came down to 3 things. There was one that had, all of these 3 were white, beautiful, prepared well. One tasted like chocolate. One was Cuban Grower's Sift. I know it. I walked over to it and I said, "This is yours, right?" He goes, "Yeah, that's mine." I was like, "By the way, I want a ½ ounce." He's like, "Okay." But then there was another one that had this really cool chocolate. So it came down for me what you like the flavor of. All 3 were world class in my opinion. But you know, you either like chocolate on your tongue, or you like cherries on your tongue, or you like kind of a sour kind of dessert on your tongue. And I will tell you that I went with something that tasted like wedding cake. And it looked like wedding cake. White, beautiful pressed hash, soft and spongy, really burned really well. So it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lifelong dream to sit and I gave it my all, guys, because you know, everyone that entered this, they're giving it everything. That little sample, that little piece of hash, that represents everything that somebody gave you. And so I did my absolute best to make sure that everything I scored was honest as I would want you to be with my samples. So I just thought you guys would like to hear the back story on it. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. No, I'm glad you shared it with us. We had Tony in here earlier talking a little bit about the cup, and Indra was in here a little while after that, and now yourself. It's nice to get the different perspectives. It's nice to hear that things are being set up. I mean, if you're going to put that kind of energy and time and really get people to come and donate those kind of levels of resin and flowers after so long of growing and processing, and it's a lot. So it's best to make sure that it's as good and as fair of a competition as possible, I would think.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna go get ready to go. You gotta have
Awesome,
a great
dude.
day, Mark. Yep.
Yes,
Good seeing you, Todd. Always.
All
Much
right,
respect, my friend.
Much respect to you too, brother. I hope to see you today, actually. All right.
Thanks, man.
I'm not too sure what the minimum hash requirements are for flowers and hash. Does some cool or others know? The minimum
cup?
Yeah, what is it?
1
like?
ounce. 1 ounce of hash. You have to give 1 ounce of hash. That's what I gave up. 1 ounce.
Right. And then do you also pay? Do you, okay, I was gonna say, and $2,000. All right. So
yeah, you have to pay to play.
You got to pay to play, because a lot of people build their brand's names based on these particular types of trophies. Winning these contests helps their brand, you know, sell whatever their brand is.
I like
producing.
the attitude of Legends. It was 10 grams, and it was free. Well, you had to buy a ticket for the dinner, so I guess that's 50 or 100 euros.
The best part of that was that you got to smoke all your hash. That it wasn't, that at the end of the night it was just getting stuffed into the hubbly bubbly 5 grams at a time.
Well, after VPG won with the Girl Scout cookies in 2013, and then Girl Scout cookies took off, and needless to say, so yes, it does help with the brand, and I understand why people compete and put it out there. We didn't try; it was just one of those things where we submitted, and it turned out to be that we won. And it's an honor. It's really cool. It's nice to have the cup, but there's always been questions in the past about how fair or unfair it was. So it's very positive to hear how you sound to think that things seem to be more fair nowadays with the transparency of what's there, because in the past it hadn't been as transparent.
I think if you had enough money, you could buy enough tickets and stack it with judges that would only vote your way. And
no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that.
That's the Dutch way.
That's not the No, so let me give you an idea. So Frenchie Cannoli's a hash judge. I'm a hash judge. There were several people there, my friends. They love cannabis. They love hash, and they took the shit very seriously. Plus, it doesn't suck to get 44 grams of fucking really good hash. I mean, that's kind of a fun thing. But no, it's been a lot of fun.
There's only expert judging. There's no popular judging.
It is only popular judging, but they just give it to people who qualify, like me. Eddie Lepp is a judge. Frenchie Cannoli's a judge. They give it to people I think that can, number one, can smoke a good bit, because you do have to smoke quite a bit. But I will tell you that my highlight of yesterday was we had the live show set up at the booth. We raised money. You know, we're raising money for Weed for Warriors project this month. Going to donate on July 4th. And so it's really cool. We set up live. I had Eddie Lepp came over and did an awesome interview, dude. He is the best interview. He is so deep and he has seen so much shit. And he's such a kind soul. Even all the crap he's been through, he emits beautiful light. He's just like, you know, be nice to each other, be kind. It was an awesome interview. And then, you know, we actually got to set up right there live in the middle of the thing. And right behind us was, and I'm not going to use any words, but the most raucous rap you've ever suck my this, do that the whole time we're doing the show. This horrible rap is behind us. So my dick, so my dick, so my dick.
Oh my God, dude. That's
what
awesome.
An experience. Yeah, an experience. 120 decibels, Eddie Lepp, weed everywhere. It's just like, it's too much, guys.
Jeez. And Eddie served what, like 10 years?
8. He did 8. Total 8, brother.
And can he smoke now, or is he
no, you're gonna love this. So they took his bracelet off Friday. I don't know exactly why. Maybe a retrofit or some shit, and he has to go back and put it on Monday. So he was actually able to go to the damn cup and get his award. Is that fucking cool or what?
That's wild.
Can he smoke? Is he legally allowed to smoke?
Oh no, hell no. He's a federal fucking parolee. Hell no.
What happens if his doctor prescribes Marinol?
The federal government will watch him for the rest of his life, period. That's what happens when you go through the federal system in America. They watch you forever.
Yeah, but they don't prohibit you from drinking or anything forever, only as long as you're probation or parole.
Yeah, he will. I mean, he'll be able to smoke again soon. But my point was, historically, maybe not now that there's a million pot plants in my backyard, but historically, once you're on their radar, they kind of fuck with you. You know, if you slip up again, you know, they kind of, I don't know, that's my opinion. They kind of watch for you to slip up once you've been through.
Well, I don't think Mark was slipping up. I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
It's called sticking his nose in their business. And, you know, the government thinks governance is their business and not the riffraff of the counterculture.
You calling us riffraff?
Yes, I am. I'm a riffraffer too.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I kind of wish I was down in California. It'd be nice to go see all my friends down there at the event today and go check out all the booths.
Pretty. This is a 79, light breeze, little sun. It's nice, man. It's nice.
Nice. That's
good.
Weather.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Bubble Man. Wish you could be here, needless to say.
Well, I mean, I told
coming
Tony
down?
later.
Yeah, Todd and I are coming down, coming up today.
Cool. I can't wait to see you then. Awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Go have a Hash Church panel meeting. Make it happen.
What's up, Bubble Man? I will
what's
have
going on, dude?
How you doing?
Oh, doing well, man. Doing well. Another beautiful day here in BC. It looks like blue sky out there. So maybe I'll get out there at one point in time with my family and maybe get hiking or something. Do some nature.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
We love you guys. We're going to the cup.
All right. Well, enjoy the cup. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you guys so much for letting us talk. Have a good day.
Oh, yeah. Anytime, man. Anytime. Everyone's going to the cup soon. We'll lose Etienne. And then we'll probably just call it a day. It'll be a nice short Hash Church. Maybe a couple more bowls, though. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got a couple more bowls in me. My ride has some things to do, so I've before I go jump in the shower, scrape myself down a little bit, do a couple bong hits.
Maybe I'll hit the Swiss Perg.
So, Dr. Sheldon, what's status of What's the status of Pennsylvania?
Well, I mean, this week was a pretty historic week. All of the hemp licensees started planting this week. I'm just seeing the pictures on social media, and
so they've been prepping their soil all in anticipation of seed coming in, or
oh yeah, they've been prepping the soil for years, and so like the pictures that I'm seeing on social media this week are with big bags of seed. And the seed that they're using, when we were talking about Finola before, I was looking to see what the label was on their seed. It's a Canadian company called Valley Bio. Does that ring a bell with you guys? Valley Bio. So apparently they're a hemp seed supply company that's supplying seeds to at least this grow down in Pennsylvania.
Do you know if they're growing Finola or not, or what genetic?
It's probably Finola, or it's probably a cousin of Finola, I would imagine. But it's called Valley Bio, and I see that they have a whole.
Sam, does that ring any bells?
No, absolutely not. And Finola works better the more north you go, the further south you go, the less it performs. Jace says it really can't be grown profitably below the 40th latitude.
Yeah, I just put the link for this.
So Pennsylvania should be fine. Yes.
I don't know what the latitude is there. Do you?
I think it's. If I'm thinking, it's still above the. Are you above the 40? Where are you there, Doctor?
Isn't that crazy? I don't know. I should know that, shouldn't I?
Well, you're focused on smaller things. It's okay.
I guess so. Yes, I'm focused on molecular structure, which really has no.
Yeah. Well, for growing cannabis outdoors in the ground, the right variety, a lot of it depends on latitude, amongst other things.
Okay, well, I'm going to look it up here, and we'll be able to. Okay, Pennsylvania latitude is 41 degrees north, 41.2 degrees north.
So it's wildly profitable at 41 degrees.
So yeah, I thought Pennsylvania. Yeah, it'll do fine there. It wouldn't grow well in Louisiana, but it'll do fine in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there's only one way to find out. Give it a try.
Oh, I'm sure someone has tried growing herb in Pennsylvania.
No, we're talking about Finola.
Oh, Finola, the particular variety, right?
I've grown herb in Pennsylvania. It's just
variety. The particular variety is Anka, like Paul Anka, the singer. So
Anka's a German variety.
Okay, it's a German variety. Anka?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a German variety. Gee, I wonder why they would choose that variety.
I have no idea.
The Dutch Pennsylvania, why would they go with the German?
Because they know Anka grows with discipline.
That's hilarious.
I'm absolutely certain. Probably could have imported seed from just about anywhere.
Well, I know in Manitoba, we specifically went with the Ukrainian seed because they seem to have similarities to our province too.
Yeah.
Location.
Maybe I'm wrong about Anka. Maybe it's not German, but for some reason in my brain, I'm thinking it is. But yeah, somebody Google Anka seed and it'll pop up. Maybe it's a later Canadian development.
Well, hopefully we get to a point where we don't even have to set, like, can we not grow, hemp varieties that are high in cannabinoids and terpenes simultaneously so that you don't have to have them separate, that you don't have to make them two separate things. And one is a worry because it might pollinate the one that we're trying to produce high cannabinoids with.
As long as you stop wind.
It says here that the Anka or Anka variety is their flagship variety, which was first developed in Ontario. And Ontario developed hemp variety.
Okay, so that shows.
Yeah.
Was it developed by Ruth's company?
Valley Bio. I'm just on their website right now.
How about this? My friend in chat says, Sam reamed me out at the Blue River Terp party for not knowing my latitude. I now know it's 39.1632.
No problem.
Oh, it's awesome.
Stay in your latitude.
Know your latitude.
He's got a latitude attitude.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's awesome. That is very cool. Robert, you're hilarious, bro. Got to come visit Robert in Spain one of these days from Carol LEDs. He's always the funnest person to bump into in Barcelona. And Mr. Generous, Mr. Kindness.
There's a lot of really nice people in Barcelona that are very, very friendly towards cannabis.
Yeah, I feel that's the truth. There are a level of chronics in Barcelona that seem to have a passion that's on par with my own.
Every year I go to Barcelona, I'm impressed more and more by not only their resolve, but the quality, and they're taking it into places that we really thought the Dutch were going to take it, but unfortunately the Dutch decided to abdicate, and the Spanish are more than happy to capitalize.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty stoked about it.
Next Sunday is the Dutch liberation, cannabis liberation celebration in Flevoland Park in Amsterdam. And all kinds of people will be there, Rick Simpson and all kinds of people from a bunch of different countries. It's probably the biggest celebration in the Netherlands on the subject of cannabis.
And it's next week?
Yeah, it's free.
Damn, I'll just have to jump on a plane. I can't be missing that. Just to go chill out in the park with Sam. Who will actually be like, I'm not going. No, I'm not going. I was just talking
for all
about
cannabis, both recreational, industrial, spiritual, medical, all cannabis.
Right. Well, cannabis to me is like one cannabis. It covers the gamut. As it should. Oh, Etienne's checking into chat. What about Lafayette? Who's talking about Lafayette?
Well, I used to live right by Lafayette, Louisiana, so it was the big city with the big mall. It was something exciting to go to when I was a wee lad and very socially inept and very pre-internet, before we even really had television, because, we were in the middle of the swamps, so that really was no television as I grew up. So that's why we were all artists and musicians and stuff like that, because we had to entertain ourselves.
Malls will be remembered because they're starting to disappear because people are buying online.
Nice. What about Covfefe?
Covfefe. I'm just I
think isn't Covfefe an extract from a beaver's anus?
Where we each chip in a gram of our best hash to the person who can make up the best collection of words that can be made up out of that word.
That is the super most random contest ever. I think I'm going to be keeping my hash, but I support you guys in your giveaway.
I'm going to keep it and burn it in a smaller series of fires.
Listen, I'm giving something away 6 days a week. Hash Church is the only day that I do not give something away. I guess other than my time, my energy, and some knowledge. Beaver terps and some beaver.
I tried to think of different, words that can be made up out of that.
It's a beaver terp. It's a beaver terp. Covfefe?
Maybe. But wouldn't it be then Covfefe Baleen or something?
Something along those lines.
Covfefeine?
No such thing as Covfefe is a terpene. That's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean the president is not educated on pot, that he isn't properly diagnosing terpenes on the Twitters?
How could it possibly get any weirder? How could it get any weirder?
Don't say that. Never say that, because then it gets really fucking weird and you're like, who the fuck said it?
I said it. Hey, I was surprised when I got back from Toronto on my last trip that I had this little thing in my suitcase saying that they went through my suitcase to make sure that everything was...
They pre-sniffed your panties?
Yeah, they search conducted, no items removed, no dangerous goods removed, no illegal items removed. I always travel with my resin, my pipe, all of the things that could be construed as illegal if one, say, didn't see them under the context of being beside my federal license, which I carry with me as I get on planes. So I take that all with me on my carry-on. They never ask to see it. They never, very rarely, they'll say, open the case, and I might have a dabber in there they might want to see, or they might just want to see that it's a glass pipe and have it closed back right up. But I've never had any problems. But I'm sure if I left that same stuff in my suitcase and this happened to occur, this is probably how you get arrested at airports like Johnny B did in Edmonton, having your pipe or something illegal without, you know, like a document, which might for Canadians be a good idea to put a photocopy of your license in with anything that may be construed as potentially illegal by security or law enforcement. If you have a license, you know, it's not something that we generally do. We don't like copy our license and then stick it to everything that we have that could be looked upon as illegal outside of that system. But it's a good idea for your luggage to throw in that.
And to protect yourself, you need to have a T-shirt with it printed on it and wear that through the airport.
That might be a good idea, except maybe remove your address from it, because that would be a kind of a crazy fucking T-shirt to roll around with. Like, that motherfucker's got a 100-plant license at such and such an address. Oh, yeah. The things we do today that we wouldn't do back then. I mean, nowadays it's hilarious. We're setting up cameras. We're micing each other. We're like, let's sit down and have a session and talk. Before it was like lead boxes, turning on the water, taking out the batteries, like the whole 9 yards. Has really switched in the cannabis industry. I won't lie.
Yeah, it's a night and day. It's one of those things where we're always taught to stay quiet and low behind the scenes, you know, and so to actually be out on camera doing bong hits is yeah.
Hey, you need to get a better mic so when we record you, it sounds even clearer. Oh my God. That's just so different from where we came from. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you get. I mean, back when I was everybody that I knew, I mean, everything was all done on payphones, and you know, yeah, it's just OG style where you met at a certain time at a certain place. You best not be late, you know, but always, you know, I'm waiting for my man. Wrote the Velvet Underground. One of the most applicable drug songs. I know that he was talking about heroin, but it always applied to cannabis too. Because when was your pot dealer ever on time?
Oh God! And how sketchy was your pot dealer? My God!
And then you had to hang out with your dealer, and depending on the dealer, you either had to roll one with them or smoke one with them, and you had to wait unless they were dealing with somebody else. You had to just sit down and just be quiet as some unknown somebody in the side waiting, you know, while they handle their shit. And then he's done, and all of a sudden, boom, you're human again. Hey, how's it going? What's going on?
You know, it drove me nuts, Etienne. It's one of the reasons I wanted to become a better, more efficient dealer. And so when I started doing it myself, I made a point on being available at least 18 hours a day. I was answering immediately. I had pagers. I had access. I had quantity. I had types. I created a beautiful setting with a huge 150-gallon fish tank, and it was just like always great music, good people, good vibes. It was just like, that's what people who were purchasing cannabis deserved, in my opinion, not the sketchiness that I was so accustomed to as I came out of junior high and into high school as a young new cannabis smoker. I wanted to make it better for people.
But this is the prohibition. This is what drove us all, is that, you know, it was illegal. We didn't have access to it. So we had to go through shady back river channels to get the whatever we had, and then, you know, distribute accordingly. I mean, people are still doing it. I see a lot of people in chat saying that's still how it's done. And I empathize with you and understand. And I say it lovingly, because I know what it's like to actually, I've shown up at my dealers and been like, sorry, dude, you're 86 because your friend fucking ripped me off. And until your friend fucking pays me, I'm not fucking dealing with you, you know, that kind of bullshit, you know. I was like, that's fucking bullshit, you know, I just want my weed. Now I'm stressed out more. And the whole reason I needed my weed was so I wasn't so stressed. And now I can't even get my weed because, you know, and, you know, it drives up the price. It drives up the the interactions, hey, I can't tell you the amount of people that I wouldn't know if I hadn't met through, different smoking circles, copying, because when I was on tour with the Cannabis Action Network, all 47 states that I traveled through, I scored in too, and I smoked weed in. So it went the distance of, just hanging out at a bar in Chicago and talking to somebody and them being able to hold on, I'll be right back, going out and scoring something to hold on, let's roll around and to trade cars and to go this and hold on, you got to wait and I got to go inside and then you got to go somewhere and act normal while I go handle this and we'll meet back here. You know how it goes. The fucked up shit. Yeah.
I like Brett Maverick's story, and every batch has some long story that always ends with. So that's why I can't go below 200 a zip. Oh fuck, that's just a little too accurate. Isn't that scary? I was from Winnipeg. You were lucky to get 200 a zip. Forget about it. Back then, when I was growing up, it just wouldn't have happened. It was expensive.
Dude, when I first moved here, like I said, I had to. After I got 86th, I would have to take a bus to get to a train, take the train across the bay, catch another bus, go up to Haight Street. And then that's back when the Deadheads, back in the Grateful Dead days there, Dr. Sheldon and all the Grateful Dead heads were hanging up there at the Ben and Jerry's. And you roll up there, and this is how they measured. This was an eighth, that was a quarter, that was 3/4, that's an ounce. Yeah, you know the deal. And they lay the bag and you looked at it, you eyed it, and that's how I scored it and got with my transfer and got back on the next bus and hopefully to get back on my train and then walk a couple miles home. And West Oakland, back in the day when it was never not cool to be in West Oakland and be white walking at night, after catching the last BART from San Francisco. And that's how I used to score my weed. And that sucked. I mean, back in the day, back when I was in West Virginia, Haith. That's what they were. They were called a Haith. Get them on Haight Street. But I mean, that's just how it was. There were no stores. There was no access point. Yeah, it was great weed. That's why I went up there. Because it was, the Deadhead kids always had really cushy, really crusty, really just frosty nugs. They were just bright green, really good. I didn't know what the strains were, etc. And in the interaction time, it was buds to leaning up against the wall to measuring it out to putting it in the bag to how much, exchange money for cash. Here's your weed. Stick it in my pocket because you can't go, oh yeah, let's look at this. Let's see what I got here. Oh yeah, this looks really good. No, you had to wait till you fucking, you had to hope that shit was wrapped tight so you weren't stinking up the bus, then you were stinking up the train.
So was this on like one of the blocks of Haight, or was this?
Oh, it's on Haight and Ashbury at the actual Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, Haight and Ashbury.
Yeah, Haight and Ashbury back in the day when the Dead was in town. That was the place where you always got the kindest fucking nugs. If it wasn't at Shakedown Street, it was always at Haight and Ashbury. And you were hit by literally 8 to 10 vendors like, what you got, what you got, what you got? And you ask them who's got the goods. And then you go find that guy. And then he's like, okay, this is a Haight, this is a, boom, boom, boom. And you do your fucking deal and boom, and you go. And it isn't until you get home that you're like, oh, wow, this is what I got. Holy shit, this is really stemmy. Or holy shit, this is really popcorny. I got a great deal on this one, is just how it was, So I very much appreciate that I can look and see what I have and have access to. Because back in the day, when you're doing backdoor and dark night deals, I've been sold peppermint before. Christmas Eve.
Is that still going on there at Haight and Ashbury?
I have no idea. No, I mean that really died with the Grateful Dead. But yeah, every time I'm up there, there's always people still selling weed up there, but it's not like the proliferation of a whole bunch of deadheads back then in these huge Junko jeans hanging out with all that, like buds, and with a whole group of 20 of them hanging outside the the Ben and Jerry's, and Ben and Jerry's just let the shit go on. They didn't give a fuck. They're like, it's a fucking pot, supermarket going on out front.
Yeah, people who smoke weed like to eat ice cream, so
Oh, the kids went in and spent their money there, no doubt. So, I mean, they had to have some sort of working arrangement because nowhere else in town were they letting all the fucking little, patrouilles reeking kids be like, here's all the bud you want, dude.
I mean, there's quite a few homeless and panhandlers up and down Haight Street, but I don't think, I mean, again, if you go by Golden Gate Park, like if you walk to the end of Haight and you walk into the park, I think that's where people might approach you now.
They still approach you on Haight Street. I still get it all the time. Buds. Yeah. I don't hear acid anymore. Back in the day, I used to hear, the acid and stuff like that. But I guess I looked the part or, something, but I don't know why that they're always like buds.
So even with legalization in California, there's still.
Yeah, I mean, the illegal market is still ongoing. I mean, it hasn't stopped. It hasn't changed. This weed that we reject goes somewhere. It's being sold somewhere. That, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
On top of that, there's still good bud going out there that people are buying too. So, it's all the above. The market hasn't stopped. The people won't need to. They're panhandlers. They're getting by with what they have. So they're just selling what they got and moving on.
Right. But if your average weed novice who lives out in the suburbs, who doesn't like to go downtown or go to Haight, or just it wants to stay in the suburbs, I mean, aren't there options in terms of like dispensaries out there for them, or do they have to drive in the city?
A lot of them have to go into the cities because more than 100 municipalities have passed legislation making any type of cannabis illegal. A lot of them are now changing that and are rethinking now because after 20 years, because those first 20 years, people were like, oh, keep it out of my town. Now, seeing that they have to participate to get the money from the state of California due to the new law in 64, you have to be participating. If you're not actually taxing and doing with cannabis, you don't get to have the part of the windfall benefit. So a lot of these municipalities now are starting to change, but for the most part, a lot of the smaller municipalities don't have access points and don't have medical cannabis. There are mostly in larger municipalities are tolerated, and a lot of the smaller ones and even counties, it's been outright forbidden. But now with the 6 plants being allowed to grow, now the discussions have changed whether to allow outdoor growing or not. And so that seems to be the predominant point that's going through a lot of the local legislatures right now, is whether to allow outdoor growing or not, because everyone can grow 6 plants. And it seems people are also realizing that they want to involve themselves with the recreational point and look at taxation to the point where they're looking at allowing not only dispensaries or distribution points, but also allowing for manufacturing large-scale growing. They are looking to realize that after hearing the money that people are making in Colorado and Washington off the taxes, that has significantly turned the discussion point from people who are like, we don't care, to shit, it's legal here. We maybe want to get on this because these other municipalities that are getting taxed, like Berkeley, Berkeley hasn't had a problem since I'm taxed 2.5% of wholesale and retail. Each one, they have brand new cop cars. They've got brand new traffic vehicles, et cetera, like that, because they've got very fluid cash flow because I'm taxed and I'm paying money, and they make a lot of money off me every single year. But at the same point, that tax money has changed a lot of these municipalities because they see that, oh wait, we're losing money and we have no way to do it. Let's look at cannabis. You're seeing it to the point where other states like Texas and others are starting to look at it very seriously because of the taxation reality that is taking place in other states. And the windfall that California is going to see once the system is finally up and going in a few years is going to flip the entire switch. In Pennsylvania, look what you guys are going to do there. You're going to change the East Coast. Without a doubt, what New York is going to be jealous as fuck when they start seeing the amount of money you guys are starting to make.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. I mean, Maryland's actually a step out in front of PA in terms of its medical program. But what was interesting to me when I was recently in Northern California was like the difference between Napa and Sonoma, for example. I mean, you were talking about municipalities, and certain municipalities that sort of like embrace the industry like especially in those areas where wine is really king. And so again, known for its wine, both Sonoma and Napa want to maintain some kind of like, I think Sonoma, I mean, hey, that's where Santa Rosa is. That's where the High Times Cannabis Cup has been a whole bunch of times. There's been a really proactive sort of community, it seems like, in Sonoma, more so than Napa, that wants to be like with their Bottle Rock Festival. Oh, no, we can't have cannabis, businesses here. We can't advertise cannabis or anything like that. I mean, it's ridiculous because it's already there, and now it's going to sort of create like competition between the two very, very famous counties in California. And so, yeah, getting down to the municipal level, what's going to really make a difference is the money, because the money's there. And it's like, I think the wine industry should, because there's so many parallels to the cannabis industry in terms of the craftsmanship, in terms of the relying on good genetics, good agricultural practices, agricultural practices that ultimately lead into a refined product that humans consume. I mean, there's so many parallels.
They're fearful. I'm not kidding you. The wine industry is fearful because we're going to take away the labor. They have their labor that they've been dealing with and has been unabsconded with in the local region. And the amount of people that are going to start switching over to trimming and dealing with cannabis is going to be significant, where they're concerned and already are losing people because cannabis people pay higher wages. Do you want to go work out your ass in the field, or you want to get $25, an hour or whatever to trim weed? It's already to the point where it's gonna, between Trump's fear mongering, this year is going to be a lot of farmers are watching to see what's going to take place, because a lot of them fear a lot of death on the vine is going to happen because of the inability to harvest it in time. And that's become a reality, and that's going to become a reality across the food table.
Yeah, I guess the point, I'm looking at some of the comments in chat. The point I was trying to make is I think it would be smart for, sensible economic development of both industries side by side. It's not exclusive towards one or the other. I mean, yeah, both industries need labor. Both industries supply jobs and tourism. I mean, a lot of friends I know go to those regions of California for the wine tourism. It would be wonderful, again, to have the same kind of tourism in Mendocino and Humboldt.
And people are gearing toward that. That's what they want to do. And they're looking toward the wine industry because that's what the wine industry did. They went from quiet little vineyards to all of a sudden then opening up their own retail, to where a lot of these vineyards sell everything that they have by mail order. End of story. But again, that won't happen in cannabis until cannabis is legal federally, because you can't mail cannabis. So that's unfortunately still illegal. And until that changes, that's just the reality that we're going to deal with. But I agree
that you can't mail it, but you can have it delivered in some municipalities by automobile.
Yes, you can do delivery. Yes, that is legal, and a lot of legislation is happening around that currently too, whether to allow for delivery or not in areas. So that's also.
I guess what the real limit would be, what's the delivery size? If you can deliver an ounce or you can deliver a pound, then yeah, I mean, delivery becomes a serious consideration for the market.
Up to an ounce for an adult currently.
So you could have one delivered every day for a week.
BPG has 2 ounces, 2 ounce limit per day. But if you came in buying 2 ounces per day, we would ask what's going on, because we would think that you were selling, and we don't want diversion.
No, I'm grinding it up and sifting it, dude.
That's fine. Enjoy your sifting. Here's another 2 ounces.
Yeah, because I can sift those 2 ounces in about 10 minutes. So
you're a sift master, though. You're the less than 1% of 1%, sir. And we love you for it.
He's ready to give you a couple ounces so he can get a couple grams of dry sift back.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, but if I can get a couple grams a day, man, I'm styling.
Oh yeah,
Right?
that's a good deal.
I've smoked Sam's stuff before. It is made me question reality.
Not
Agreed.
only that, after you take the dry sift and you pretty much creamed as much as you could get from the dry plant material buds, then you can still use it for other kinds of edibles or topicals or whatever.
True enough. True enough. Does Sam own a wizard outfit?
You should.
He's always in his wizard
No,
outfit.
unfortunately it disappeared.
Right. Right.
But I promise, I really did. I used to have a little jester's cap with 3 little bells on it.
Very nice. Maybe one day your doll can wear that jester cap.
Did you say wizard or lizard?
Well, according to Stephen Hagar, it's lizard, but according to everyone else, it's wizard. Didn't Steve Hagar call you the spook, Sam?
Yes, he called me the
So
spook.
did he start that Amsterdam rumor?
Yes.
No. He started the one where I was CIA, but other people started rumors that said I was associated with various law enforcement agencies. But I can guarantee everybody it's all stupid nonsense.
It's like the most ridiculous thing ever to actually. It's the polar opposite.
Oh, Sam, I heard all those nefarious things about you when I was in Amsterdam, and I had met you and was judged for myself, so it was fine enough.
That's the thing. Nobody that knows me really says that. But I'll tell you, Steve Hagar kind of knew me. I mean, he gave me, Rob Clark, free passes for the High Times Cannabis Cups every year for like 20 or 25 years, something ridiculous.
Yeah, he just wanted to stay on the CIA's good side. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to piss them off.
Maybe.
He writes all sorts of crazy shit that's always about CIA and this, that, and the other thing, and I'm always just
I
like,
notice
dude.
he's one of those conspiracy junkies, and usually I believe in the simplest reason for things happening. Usually not conspiracies, but really some stupid, simple reason.
Right.
And as somebody who's been on the inside of our government and been through a war and watched all the buildup and all that other fun stuff, I can tell you how wonderfully inept the federal government is on a level that makes me hard to believe a lot of conspiracies, because they can't hardly wipe their ass right, much less, put things, proper, and except at the very elite levels, and those are few and far between.
Yeah, well, I think that what they are is they probably are pretty confident at collecting every single electronic communication that the world transfers between individuals or groups or organizations or corporations. But they don't know what's going to happen. They have overkill with information. What they can do is they can look in the records from the past after the fact. So after somebody knocks down, Twin Towers in New York, then they can try to look back and see who was communicating about what, because they got them all.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty reasonable that the majority of people's communications are interceptable and recordable and able to go through later
Unless
and
you
read.
communicate with TomTom, yes. By TomTom, I mean drums.
Right. Well, that's how you and I communicate, Sam.
I thought it was with 2 wires in a can. I got my can and a wire. I'm just waiting for another can.
They now have a way they can get a laser on that wire, and they can figure out what you're saying.
Yeah, nothing is private anymore. True story, Brett, Chris.
Can't they put like one of those Watson computers on like overload and like have them go through all different kinds of
I
like.
don't know if they can do that in real time, but they can certainly do it after the fact and sort out anything that they want once they know what it is that they're looking for.
I don't know, man. Those things are pretty badass. I saw them on Jeopardy, man. They know a lot of things. So I would assume that if you put like about 10 or 100 of those Watson computers in a room and you have them go through all the intercepted communications, that they'd be able to figure some shit out, you know?
Yep. Well, they seem to be real good after the fact, but they are not great at doing it, you know, in real time. But they're getting better and better. You're right.
Scary, scary. And we just have, who would have ever thought we would carry these little listening devices and cameras with us everywhere we go? They're all just, everyone just look down at theirs for a second. Oh yeah, there's my listening device. Exceptional, wonderful.
Yeah, and don't forget to turn off your metadata on wherever you take pictures of your gardens and stash and things like that. And don't be stupid like those people that take pictures of themselves holding stacks of cash and, you know.
Those are called selfies.
And your fully automatic Uzu or AK-47.
Uzu. I like the Uzu.
I like the Uzu better.
Yeah.
I don't know what an Uzu is, but it sounds good. I want to eat one.
I think it shoots a lot of bullets really fast. Those
yeah, Uzis. Yeah, Uzis do. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? I think we did a solid 3 hours today, boys. I think that's commendable. I would love to wait around for the guys to come back to the cup, but Tony said he was going to film a little bit today in regards to the those microencapsulated terpenes, which happen to be on. He called it terp sugar, but it's actually xylitol, an extract that was extracted from, I believe, birch or something. He'll give the full explanation in the video. That'll be coming up on Bubble Man's World in the next couple of days if they get around to it. And in the meantime, thanks everyone for coming and watching. 600 people still kicking around. Thank you all panelists from the ones that have left, from Johnny B and Todd McCormick and D420K and all those guys, to Etienne and Skunkman Sam and Dr. Chaldone, all the people that are still here. I do appreciate you guys coming every Sunday, and we'll see you next Sunday. We'll have some type of something to discuss, I'm sure. I love the sound of Etienne puffing the bong as I'm saying goodbye. We need to do that every time from now on. That's an amazing background sound. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.
Love you.